Hello, Warhammer 40k fans. We are back here with the Adepta Sororitas Crusade. I had a wedding this weekend. There's been some other stuff past weekends as well, so I'm catching up here. This is our 5th battle. The sisters are coming in here at 2-2, so we're going to see if they can get a winning streak, possibly for the last 2 fights. So this is going to be the second last battle, and it is against the Genestealer Cultists. There has been another balanced data slate drop, which has changed the points again for my Battle Sisters army. They're now coming in at 1580 and used to be in at 1590, I believe. The Genestealer Cultists army that you're seeing here, titled the Children of the Devourer, are at 1585, so a very, very close army battle here. I was planning on doing this as a cityscape with some sewers, but instead I changed it to like a big manufactorum. So this is the inside of like a massive manufacturing warehouse. The Genestealers have, of course, taken over this planet. They have come out. It is very, very close. The Tyranid are in space, ready to come down. And as soon as the Patriarch awakes, that is going to happen. The Genestealers here are guarding 4 different points. This battle as well, I think, is probably going to go 5 turns. I was just trying to do the math with the inches. And we're going to see it could be over very quickly, too, if I pick the right marker here. If not, it might be a while. But how this is going to work is we have, as you guys saw in the intro video there, 4 different discs. They're representing like some kind of tunnel system underneath the Manufactorum, kind of like a sewer system or power outlet system, something like that. And down there, I'll show you guys in a second, on my other table is the Patriarch, guarded by some aberrants or abominants. I forget which ones they are. So there's number 2, and there's number 1. The Sisters of Battle, I was thinking if it was going to be a cityscape, would come in from all different directions of the city. In this case, they are starting down on one side, and they are going to move forward. So the way that I randomized where this Patriarch is I did a shuffle of the discs in my hand. I was watching some football, so I marked the bottom of one of the discs with my silver marker. I shuffled them again, and then I placed them back to where they were. So I actually don't know where the Patriarch is. Whichever one has that silver mark, as the Sisters of Battle approach, will flip it. And if that's the case, they have to get down into the tunnel system to kill the slumbering Patriarch. I'll move over to the table and show you guys that setup. It's actually pretty sweet. Another kind of third-party terrain that I bought. You guys saw that in the intro video too. But this is it. So as soon as I pick the correct token, there's going to be Sisters of Battle entering this tunnel system here. They're going to move down, open up this door, and then lo and behold, there's a bunch of bodyguards there for the slumbering Patriarch, who is right here. So the Patriarch is not going to be able to fight. It's sleeping. So if I'm able to get in here, which is actually going to be very tough because these models are strong. If you guys watched the Fight 'em Up series middleweight, the Abominant or Aberrant, whatever was in there, did very well. And they have an ability to resurrect themselves unless that has changed with the new data slate that came out. I'll have to check and see as we move through the battle, but it's a very tight confines. Trying to get through here with like bolt guns to light these guys up is going to be difficult, so I'm hoping to get my Sacrosants in here. Zephyrum, I'll let them fly in here, something that's got some hand-to-hand combat punch, and we'll see what happens. And I also have some models in transports here. So inside the Immolator, I have the Sacrosants and the Hospitaller, which are right here. And inside this Rhino, I have a Battle Sister squad with the Imagifier and the Canoness. Canoness Vaheen as well was given a battle trait last battle. So what I did is I gave her, it's actually 4 character models. They have like a piece of war gear that they can get. So this is the File of Dolan. So going forward, I always make a little indicator there. She has an improved wound count, leadership count, and objective control. Objective control for this one is not going to be important, but I think it will be for the last battle, so that's going to be pretty big. So she moves from 4 wounds to 5 wounds. You guys saw last battle, she took out a whole bunch of 8-bound, which was insane for kind of an older, distinguished woman to do, but she was able to. The resistance here too, like the Genestealer Cultists are very similar to the Imperial Guard, so it's going to be a really good fight. I just have to make sure that I give myself enough time to get to all of these discs. I also have to break my force up as well to move them down the table fast enough. So this one here is going to be right off the bat. So if by some chance the Patriarch's under disc 1, I'm probably going to start to move my entire army down this way to support. But then of course the Genestealers will also be moving in this way, and they've got some pretty fast moving vehicles, some Goliath trucks. They got Jackals, they got the Jackal Alphas. Achilles Ridge Runner, very, very fast vehicle army. Not the greatest armor, but they're very quick and their weapons are actually pretty good. So against the Adepta Sororitas power armor, we'll see how it goes. Very, very excited to get this one going. We're going to start it up here in just a sec. As always, the Sisters of Battle will be going first, as this is their campaign and crusade narrative. Hoping for a win here. We'll get going. I'm going to do the moves, come back, show you guys where they are, and if they're at any of the discs, we will flip them, and if that mark that I put on at the beginning of this is under there, they can start to get right down. So this could be, again, a very quick battle, or it might take the whole 5 turns. If they're not at a disc within 5 turns, or they're not down fighting the Patriarch, or they're not able to kill the Patriarch, it will awaken after the 5 turns. So the victory indicator there for the Genestealer Cultists is it awakens, and the Great Devourer is called, and the Sisters of Battle will lose. If the Sisters of Battle get down there, kill its bodyguards, and then in doing that, kill it while it slumbers, they have won. So 5 turns, turn 1 starting up here, move, shoot, hand to hand, and yeah, we'll get to this one. Should be awesome. Thank you guys again for watching. Alrighty, so just about to get this one started, we of course need our miracle dice roll at the start of the game. So I'm going to pull a little bit of Monty Python and the Holy Grail here and get some Gregorian chants going to hopefully get a super good roll. It has to be a 6 if I do that right. So here we go. Let's see. All right, here we go. Yeah, not bad. It was a 5. I'll take it. All right, so I have a 5 in my dice pool. I'm going to put that over by this structure that is underneath wherever that disc flip is. So it looks like the Sisters of Battle, just checking out the table here, they're going to be very close to the disc 1 and disc 2. So if that mark is underneath either of those, they're going to be able to descend into the under power sewer system underneath the Manufactorum. And if not, they're going to have to power their way through to the back very quickly because I only have 5 moves here. So I'm going to get the move done, or sorry, I should say 5 turns. I'm going to get the move done for the Sisters of Battle, show you guys what's up. We're also going to get the disc flips to see if they are actually going to be able to start to descend right away. And the aberrants who are down there have 3 wounds apiece, very strong, very high toughness. So we're going to have to fight them in kind of a tunnel rat sort of situation. And then we have the aberrant and another bunch of abominants outside of disc number 3. So if it's under that, that's going to be really tough to break through. But let's do it. I'm going to move these Sisters of Battle, and we're going to get this one started. Sisters of Battle move is done for turn 1. There's actually going to be some range coming on here too. The Immolator went down its full movement. It has no penalties to move, so it was able to scream down the side there. Within there, it has the Celestine Sacrosanct and the Hospitaller. I'm going to see if by chance one of these 2 discs has the mark on the bottom that's closest to them. If not, I'm going to have to continue to rip this thing down the field, and I have to be super careful because it's going to be able to get ahead of a lot of this force. Retributors have stayed up here. There should be some models in range for them as well. Mortifier, Penitent Engine there on the right. We have Morven Val and her Paragon Warsuits. The Paragon Warsuits still have that -1 to move from an earlier battle scar. I have not removed that yet. The Castigator had 1 removed from earlier on in the game with the requisition point that I came with from the end of the last battle. It is kind of in the center of the field here and will also move and most likely give support while the Sisters continue to plunge down into that sewer system or mechanical system, whatever it's going to be. Sisters Repentia moved up as well, their full move. The Rhino has let out Canoness Vaheen. She's actually right in the line of fire of this entire squad, but I needed to get that extra movement. I don't want to say that, there's a tank 6 inches away and I can flip the disc. So she is there. She's able to check in, take a look down, and see if that is in there. We're going to do that in a sec. The Mortifier moved up here with the Zephyrum, and then I do have the Battle Sister squad that was able to get right up to that number 1 disc. So let's flip this one first and see if we have the mark underneath it. Again, at the start, I did a shuffle, mark the bottom of these. So they're orange on the top, black on the bottom. It's a silver mark. So let's see if they're in here. And it is. Holy crap. Right there. So that was super, super lucky. I'm definitely not going to say this is going to be a crazy quick battle, but what's going to happen now is the Battle Sisters are going to converge on this sewer system, great here. And also the Genestealer Cultists will be coming at 1 million miles per hour to try to kill whatever's going down there. And also within that sewer system, I'll show you guys in just a sec, there is not an easy force that are surrounding the Patriarch. So just to show you guys here, number 2, no mark. So this might be a very quick battle. We'll have to see again. Don't want to jinx myself. Number 3, no mark. And number 4, no mark. So that is it. The Sisters of Battle here are going to be able to drop down. And I will show you guys how that little system is set up there. I know there was a quick intro video of it, and I showed a little bit what was going on in there, but I'll show you where they're going to enter. And it's going to be really, really tricky to break through there. Okay, so here is that kind of electrical system or sewer system underneath the Manufactorum plant. There would be other things exactly like this under the other discs, but this is where the Patriarch was hidden. So there is a doorway here. They're going to have to touch that door to have it lift, and it's just a simple lift piece right there. So a nice little mechanic to the battlefield. Each of the abominants or the aberrants in here have 3 wounds apiece. So it's going to be like the Battle of Thermopylae here. You know, in this case, the aberrants are like the 300 Spartans, and they're just going to be taking on whatever's coming through that doorway. So the sisters are going to drop down here. I think the most strategic would be to probably hold off with my Sisters of Battle squads and everyone else and have things like the Celestian Sacrosancts drop in. I'll say the Zephyrum can get in there. Maybe it's got a super high ceiling, so they'd be able to fly in and get some hand-to-hand combat, but that is if they survive the next move here coming. So I'm going to look at the table. I'm going to get some shoots done as well because that's going to reduce some of the Genestealer army. And then from there, we're going to see who drops down in here to try to kill these aberrant bodyguards and in turn kill the Patriarch that is in slumber. Okay, so we're going to jump into the tray right away here. This is going to be the first shoot of this game. It is the Immolator tank, so I'm going to work from that side of the battlefield across to the other side. It's got its Immolation Flamers and also the Heavy Bolter, and it's going to be firing into a squad of Neophyte Hybrids. The Neophyte Hybrids have a pretty shitty toughness, so this might be some crispy Genestealer Cultists here in just a sec. So let's get this rolling. It is going to be black dice for the sisters this game, and we're going to be using red dice for the Genestealers. It might flip back and forth as we've seen from previous battles, but let's see what we're doing here. So 2d6, Torrent Weapon hits automatically. That is fantastic. So we got 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. So that gives us the attack number that we have. Automatically hits 8 in total. It is a strength 6 weapon versus toughness 3. So this is going to be 2s to wound. All of those are through. I was really worried one was going to roll off. I do have that miracle dice, but I want to save that definitely for later on. It's a -1 to AP. So what I am going to do is, this is a lot of dice to grab. I'm just going to use these as the save for the Genestealer Cultists. So this is the Genestealer Cultists. It is a -1 to AP. That brings them to a 6+ save. And none were made. So a very good start here for the Sisters of Battle in roasting some Genestealers. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8 wounds. That was not a 6. So that is 80% of that squad dead right off the bat. There is a Primus in there, which is like the leader of the Genestealer Cultists. So he is still alive, attached to that squad. Any abilities they are going to be able to use, and that is only if they survive this Heavy Bolter attack, because I still have the Heavy Bolter on the hull of the Immolator. So let's do it. It's going to be 3 wounds hitting on a 3+. I'm just checking here. Yeah, there it is. It's saying twin Heavy Bolters. I don't have those. I guess that's one of the options you can put on instead of the Flamers. Might not be a bad weapon, but I like that we just got 8 attacks at strength 6. So here we go, hitting on 3+. So 1 fell off. I'm not going to use my dice for that. It is a strength 5 versus toughness 3, 3s to wound. Both are through. -1 to AP once again. This time I'll swap out the dice for some Genestealer Cult dice here. 6s again. And oh, they were close. No save. So that is 2 damage per. So 2, 4. That kills that entire squad. And our Immolator has just got a unit kill experience point. So I'm going to keep moving on the table. I'll try to break up the battle as I always do. There's still a lot of shoots here that I think can happen. I'm looking at my Castigator. I'm looking at the Storm Bolter on the Rhino. There is the Mortifier, the Zephyrim, and then that entire Battle Sister squad that's by the other disc. That's actually by disc 1 where we need to drop down. And then there's a unit of Neophyte Hybrids right across from them. So I'm going to do all those. I will come back and show you guys how successful these Sisters of Battle have been. I'm really hoping that they can get a win here. They need it. And I need to get a lot of experience here. So as many unit kills as I can get versus a very low toughness army with the luck on my side, having flipped disc 1 and that being our target is amazing. So let's get to this one. I'm going to continue with the shoots and I will be back to show you guys how that all looks. So here we go. Let's start on this side. We saw on the tray the Immolator scorched an entire Neophyte Hybrid squad. All that's left there is the Primus. The Primus is quite a good model, but good in hand-to-hand. So we'll see what happens. And the models that were able to kill them were the, it was just the Immolator itself. So the Heavy Flamers and the Heavy Bolter. Everyone else on this side here fired into the Goliath Rock Truck or Goliath Rock Grinder. I think there's only one profile now. So that was the Retributor squad, the Paragon Warsuits, Morven Val with Fidelis, the Castigator, and actually Canoness Vaheen was able to clip it as well. So it has 10 wounds when it starts. It was taken out. It was right here, toughness 9, but they've been rolling super, super well. And all that remains up there now are kind of the command characters for the Genestealer Cultists, but they're going to be moving like crazy this next turn. There is one other Goliath Rock Grinder here, and this is actually a transport vehicle, so very similar to a Rhino. So this unit will be able to jump in, fly down the field, hop out, and start putting some shots down. Over here as well, the Icon Ward, which is he's kind of a different stage of Genestealer hybrid. He looks a lot more like a Genestealer, like a full Pure Strain Genestealer. He has an ability to allow them to have a 5+ Feel No Pain. So what came in on them was this entire squad of Battle Sisters. They're within the rapid fire, so that was a lot of shots coming in from the bolt gun, as well as the heavy flamer and the melt-a-gun. And it killed them probably enough to, I don't know, 20 wounds or so, but since it has that Feel No Pain 5+, there are still 3 models remaining with the Icon Ward itself, so they're also going to be able to shoot. I didn't drop the Battle Sister squad down. I wanted them to hold the ground here because they're not the best for getting into that tunnel system and getting into hand-to-hand to fight those aberrants. So we're going to see what happens here. Also, I couldn't really fire in with the Zephyrim or with the Mortifier because it's just not in line of sight there. So that C-Can was blocking those shots. Very, very good first round though for my Battle Sisters. Probably one of the best. I rolled amazing for my Heavy Bolters, for the Flamers, for everything. Tons and tons of attacks. I'm hoping that this continues. It is, however, moving back over to the Genestealer Cultists, so they will be firing back here. They're going to be moving. There's some very good psychic attacks as well from a couple of the Genestealer command models here. So the Magus is one of the examples. And we're going to see what they can do. And they have pretty good range too. Possibly, I don't know, it's been a while, but they might have the ability to crush a couple tanks or at least do some wounds. The Aberrant here with the Abominants as well. Devastating. That thing has an ability. If you guys watch my Fight 'em Up series, it was in there and it has an ability to actually regenerate wounds. So even when it's killed, it has a chance of coming back. If this thing can get down, it also has insane strength with the improvised kind of big sledgehammers and stuff that they have. So that's going to definitely punch through a tank if they're able to. But yeah, I'm going to get some strategy going here for my Genestealer Cultists. The Jackals, Jackal Alpha, and they kill these Ridge Runner also are very, very fast, and they have pretty good weaponry against a lighter armored. Now, I don't want to say armored, a lighter toughness army like the Sisters of Battle. So it's still not over. There's still a ton of game left. We're moving over here to turn 1 for the Genestealer Cultists, and we're going to see what they can do against the Sisters of Battle. Here we go. All right, the Genestealer Cultists move for turn 1 is done. It looks like that's an Ultramarine arm. So these guys have been messing up some Space Marines. Bloody trail into a hole. Anyways, let's get to the move. So the Genestealer Cultists, the hybrid, Neophyte hybrids moved up. The Primus is still there. They're probably going to be able to put some rounds down on the Immolator. The other I forget what their alpha hybrids or something at the back here with the Clamavis are moving up as well. They've got a bit of range there, so we'll see if they can get in and lock it down. The Abominant and Aberrants do move 6 inches, but they do not have range at all. So they're currently pretty open to get shot at, but they're going to be able to kind of walk in there with that extreme toughness. A problem here is that Benefactus. So it's got like a massive brain head. I'll swing around the other side and show you guys. It has a strength 12 attack, and that's going to be probably aimed at the Rhino because it's got a chance of killing the models inside of it, which is a full sister battle squad and a Magifier. So the Benefactus is going to be doing that. The Magus, kind of shit. I remember them being, I thought they were better. I thought they had some psychic attacks, but it looks like it's got a psychic kind of like ability to buff people out and a pretty shitty range weapon, like an auto pistol. And then the staff is okay, so I might try to see what I can do with that. But he or she, I'm not sure, is right out in the front there, so they might get clipped this next turn. We'll have to see. The Neophyte hybrids that were up on the apparatus here have jumped into the back of the Goliath rock truck, and they are flying forward. It's also got some pretty good weaponry on it, and I think there might be a couple of things in range there too. We'll have to see. Everybody's moving as quickly as they can on the Genestealer side because they know that their Primarch is now in trouble. So the Alpha Jackal Alphas, the Jackals, and the Achilles Ridge Runner are blasting. They're all 12 inches, very, very quick. They still have a couple moves to get down there, but their range is going to start to, get in there pretty soon when they get past kind of the middle piece of terrain there. They'll be able to start shooting. And that sums up the move. So I'm going to check out everything. I'm going to measure it. We're probably going to roll for the Benefactus in the tray, see how it does. And I'll do everything else off camera for the shoot for the Genestealer Cultists and show you guys how many models they're maybe able to kill. And I have to get my immolator over here quickly now that I know that this is where that is. If not, I might have to drop some Zephyrim in here or possibly the Sister of Battle Squad. Because the turns are starting to dwindle. There's still 4 turns after this, but to get through those aberrants down in the sewer system, it might be a bit tricky. So Genestealer shoot time, and I'll come right back and show you guys what has happened. Okay, so just finishing up the Genestealer Cultists shoot phase here. I'll sum up what happened there. They got a couple of okay rolls, no real damage done, but we'll cover that in a sec when I get back to the table. This, however, is the Benefactus. So it's a newer model, kind of cool. It's got a big, massive Zoanthrope head on it. Kind of looks Tyranid a bit, but definitely Genestealer. So this is called Psionic Cascade, which is a Witchfire attack. It ignores cover, 18 inches, has to hit on a 3+. Got it. So that is a strength 12 attack. There is a focused Witchfire, which becomes hazardous. That is not the case here, but you get 2 attacks with that. That's the plus to this. So this has hit. It is strength 12, as I stated, against the Sororitas Rhino toughness of 9. So this is actually going to be a 3 to wound. Got that as well. That is not good for the Rhino. It is a -3 to AP. That brings the Rhino up to a 6+ save. It did not save, so that is a 3, needed a 6, and it is a D6 +1 damage attack. So let's see how much damage the Rhino is going to be taking here. And not great either. So the Rhino has gone from 10 wounds down to 4. So what we do here is we roll the D6. It's a 5. You add 1 to it. D6 +1, so that's 6 wounds. 10 wounds on the Rhino, -6. We have 4 wounds left on it. I'm just going to walk over to the other side of the table and make sure that that is indicated on the token that I have there, the wound token. So 4 wounds left. That's not good. And within that Rhino is an entire Battle Sister squad with the Magifier. So I need to either get them unloaded here next turn, or if they take another attack from the Benefactus, that might be exploding. And it also has, I should check before I say that, Deadly Demise D3. So there is a chance that it could kill other models around it. So, cool though. There's an ability, Self-Repair. At the start of your command phase, this model regains 1 lost wound. Good old Rhinos. Can't have too many of them. Anyway, so that is it. I'm going to hop back to the table here, show you guys what has happened. I'm pretty crazy. The Neophyte hybrids actually got a really lucky shot in. I'll show that to you guys right now. All right, so that is the end of the shoot. We did see the Benefactus firing the witch fire there against the Rhino and doing quite a bit of damage. This was an interesting one though. So the Primus was not able to do anything. I have a heavy stubber in here. I have a grenade launcher which fired crack. Nothing happened. But one of the like hybrid, these guys used to have different profiles. They'd have like an auto gun, bolt pistol. Now it's kind of just wrapped into one weapon system. So it's like a hybrid firearm, and it actually was able to do a wound to the immolator. So I don't know if it got into like an eye hole on the tank or something like that, but it did do some damage. One wound, so from 11 down to 10. Over here, the mortifier was in the range and line of sight of this Goliath truck, and it's got a twin autocannon on it and a heavy stubber. Luckily, it did not roll very well, and the mortifier still has all 5 wounds, but that was very possible that it could have gone down. So yeah, we're going to switch it back over here to the Sisters of Battle now, and we're going to get into turn 2, and I think I might have to drop these sisters down into the sewer system to try to start chipping some wounds off, because any of my hand-to-hand combat models are a little bit further away. I do have the Zephyrum here. They could fly down, but it's going to be really awkward for them to be fighting with swords and jump packs in a sewer system. I'm going to make it work, but trying to fly through a very skinny doorway with a jump pack on, I think they're probably going to get hammered as soon as they come through. But yeah, we'll get over to that in a sec. I'll do some strategy. I also have to continue to use my other sisters to start killing more of these Genestealer Cultist models, like the Benefactus, who just did all those wounds to the Rhino. So I have to get a strategy here for what's going on outside in the Manufactorum building, and then also what's going down in the sewer system, and see what I have to do that. So some strategy, and I will come back and show you guys what's up. All right, we're going to start on this side. The Adepta Sororitas turn 2 movement is done. The Neophyte Hybrids and the Icon Ward there in the middle are in trouble. There's 2 full squads of Battle Sisters around them. I forgot to show you guys. The Neophyte Hybrids and the Icon Ward tried to fire in here. Nothing happened. There is our manhole cover down into the sewer system, or big, electronics room, whatever's down there where the Patriarch is hiding. So they have locked this area down. They're going to try to kill and just continue to defend. I also remembered that the Sisters Repentia are here. I tried to move them as quickly as I could, those 6 inches, to try to get them closer and get them down there to help. But alas, they are still here. Maybe next turn. The Castigator moved up, as did the Mortifier. They're going to be putting some rounds down on this Goliath truck and hopefully killing the Neophyte Hybrids within. If they can, it's still far enough away that I don't think it's going to be able to have a deadly demise and hurt anything. We have Morven Val, who saw what that Benefactus did to the Rhino, and she's like, okay, enough of that, and she is going to light up the command unit here. So the Magus, the Primus, and the Benefactus are all going to be taking the firepower from the Paragon Warsuits and Morven Val. The Immolator here also tried to move its full 12 inches. Did have that wound chipped away from it. It can also lend its flamers, if they're in range there, to roast some of the Genestealer command. But we'll see, and in the back of that is my main kind of hand-to-hand combat punch there with the Celestian Sacrosanct and the Hospitaller. So hopefully in a couple turns as well, I'll get that over and down into the sewer system if I can to help out. The Retributors here may just be in range with the Heavy Bolter firing into this unit of Neophyte Hybrids, and the Primus not really my top priority right now because they're across the field from that manhole cover. But the Penitent Engine has moved in to put some rounds down with its flamers, and it is within range. So I'm going to be doing that off camera, get a couple things rolled, and we'll see how that goes. I'm going to show you guys what's going on in the sewer system now too. All right, so the sisters have dropped down. My Zephyrum are in range. They did the move there to all be around the manhole cover. They dropped down one at a time. Little cumbersome there with those jetpacks getting through the hole, but they're down there, and let's say that this is like, a 50-100 foot roof, so they're able to fly. They're going to have to, however, get to the door to touch it, to open it, and then as soon as it opens, they are going to be open to the attacks of the aberrants that are in there with those power sledgehammers. So hopefully those Zephyrum can do it. The Zephyrum have had a rough go so far. They've lost, I think, been killed in both the battles they've been in, because I brought them in a little bit later as a unit, but maybe they can make a change there, or at least if they do go down, try to soften up these abominants and take the victory for the Sisters of Battle. But over to the shoots. I'm going to start doing those on the table and in the tray, and we'll see what happens with the sisters and how they can defend this manhole cover. And yeah, in time, hopefully take out the Patriarch. All right, so let's get into the tray here right away. I'm going to start off with Morvenval and Fidelis, her anointed heavy bolter here. It is 3 attacks hitting on a 2+. I'm not using her Righteous Repugnance yet because it's a 5 I have rolled from a Miracle Dice. I actually have to roll that too because this is a new turn, so we'll get that going here. This will be considered a roll though. Let's get the Miracle Dice. So there we are. It's also a pretty good roll, so I don't want to use it for her Righteous Repugnance. That's going to be more for a lower roll. So I have a 4 and a 5 in the Miracle Dice pool right now. These two have hit with Fidelis. It is strength 6 versus toughness 3 of the Magus. So this is going to be wounding on 2s. So both are through again. It is a -1 to AP. The Magus has a 5+ invulnerable though. I'm going to see as well if it has a feel no pain. It does not. So looking for 6s here for the Magus. And just like that, the Magus has been killed. So the Magus has 4 wounds total. Fidelis hit with both rounds. The saves were not made, so it is 2 damage per. So that is 2-4. The Magus is finished. And the remaining troops there, which is the Benefactus and the Primus, are now open to the remaining Paragon Warsuits. So I'll do the rest of that off camera. The Immolator is also in range. The Heavy Bolter on the Immolator is in range. So there might be more unit kills going on here, and that is actually a kill for Morvenval because the Magus is a unit by itself. So this is so far a very good battle for the sisters. And I would say that the Genestealers, like I don't have the most, I don't know, I have a lot of Tyranid models. My Genestealer Cultists are very, very kind of light infantry. I have Neophyte hybrids, few of those Abominants and Aberrants. Their vehicles are also very quick, but not very strong. So we're going to see how that plays. The Goliath rock truck there is probably their strongest vehicle. And we just saw one of those go down at the very start from the Castigator, as well as a couple others. So tough army to use as well. I don't think this is the best battle for them. They're more kind of like stealth. I could see a really good battle of them versus like Raven Guard or something would be pretty sick because their skills kind of line up. Or Genestealer Cultists versus Imperial Guard slash Astra Militarum. But the sisters just have a little bit extra punch there. They have a little bit higher armor, higher weapons with the tanks. So yeah, and of course the Astra Militarum have tanks, but if you're doing an infantry on infantry fight or had vehicles like, you know, sentinels in there or lighter armored stuff for them like a Hellhound or Chimeras, it might be a much more even fight. But let's see, there's still a ton of moves left. There's still tons of Genestealers on the board too, and a whole unit of Aberrants led by an Abominant might smash Morvenval into rubble. So we'll see what happens here. I'm going to keep rolling off camera, come back, and show you guys what has happened to the remaining Genestealer Cultists during this turn. Sisters of Battle, shoot done for turn 2. Very, very good shoot phase. So both the Battle Sister squads here fired into the middle, didn't shoot each other. They killed the 3 Neophyte hybrids and the Acolyte Icon Ward. So that is experience for each squad, which is fantastic. The Castigator here, as well as the Mortifier, fired into the Goliath truck, brought it from 10 wounds down to 1, but it is still going, and it's got a lot of models in range and in line of sight. The Stormbolter from the Rhino as well tried to fire in, but just not enough strength there with a Stormbolter against a Goliath truck. Up here, the command section for this army of the Genestealer Cultists is pretty much decimated. However, the Benefactus still survives. It's got that 12 strength attack. Morvenval is right there, so I think you know what I'm thinking for their turn coming up. The Paragon Warsuits and Morvenval were able to kill the Magus and the Primus. Behind them too, there's the Reductor Saboteur, so that is very possible. If she gets up close enough, she can use that mine that she has there, the bomb, and explode some stuff and get some mortal wounds too, and that's also pretty close to the Paragon Warsuits, so we're going to see how that goes. The Immolator as well, apologies, and the Heavy Bolter also fired into the Primus and the Magus. The Penitent Engine and the Retributor Squad, those that were in range, fired into the other Primus that was behind the pipe here, killed him. There is, however, the 10 section of Neophyte Hybrids, still good to go. There's a heavy stubber in there, so that is not the strongest weapon, but definitely gets lots of rolls. So we'll see how that goes. It is back over to the Genestealer Cultists now. No one is in hand-to-hand combat, and of course in our sewer system we have the Zephyrum blasting, firing down the tunnel, but they're not able to get to that door just yet because they just dropped in. So we're going to see what these Genestealer Cultists can do. There's still some very fast-moving vehicles here too that can pin some defenders. There might be some Neophyte Hybrids that are in the back of that Goliath truck jumping out before it does explode to make sure that they might not get any kind of deadly demise. So that's going to happen too. Lots of stuff still to go. And we're moving into the Genestealer Cultists turn 2 here, their move, in just a sec. All right, so we have the Genestealer Cultists turn 2 movement done. Starting with these Neophyte Hybrids here. They have moved right up to the pipe, got a little bit of cover. They're going to be firing probably on that Penitent Engine. There is also the Immolator. Behind them are the I keep forgetting these guys' names, but the Clamavis is leaving them. They're like step 2 Genestealer Hybrids. And then over here, we do have the Aberrant with Abominance. If these things can survive and get in to hand-to-hand combat as they don't have range, they might crumple the Immolator. The Paragon Warsuits and Morven Val might also be in trouble. The Benefactus is up there too that has those in range as well. Over on this side, we do have the Battle Sisters here that just wiped out those Genestealer Cultists last turn, and coming up behind them now, the Goliath truck dropped out a whole bunch of Neophyte Hybrids. There is a mining laser in there too. A few of the models have mining lasers here, but I have to abide by those rules in regards to the weapon loadout, so they may not be able to use all of those, but it is a very high strength weapon, and they're probably going to be shooting at the Sororitas Rhino with those, and possibly penetrating that too, as it was wounded and down to 4 wounds. The Jackals moved in as well, giving a little bit of support fire there to the Neophyte Hybrids. And then the Jackal Alphas got up on top with that sniper rifle to get some range and some line of sight to pretty much pick off or shoot at least any model at once. And then we have the Achilles Ridge Runner here in behind cover with the Reductus Saboteur. And she is also dangerous because she has the mine that can do some lethal wounds that are not able to be saved even with invulnerable. The other thing here, we'll go over to my sewer system, tunnel system here. The Patriarch is still in slumber. It is on its pedestal there in the back. The Genestealer Cultists tried to hide it kind of in plain sight there under the first marker. And the Abominants or the Aberrants have come out here and have engaged the Zephyrum. So you can just picture, even though it looks like they're all kind of in behind here, they're fighting in this space. So it is going to be a hand-to-hand combat for the Aberrants first. They have the initiative. And then hopefully we'll have some of the Zephyrum still alive to do a counterattack. If not, that is going to be a battle scar again for them. And there's going to have to be another Sisters of Battle unit that drops down into the sewer to try to take out these Aberrants and in turn get back and kill that Patriarch. So I'm going to do some shoots, might do a few in the tray, might do a few off camera, and we're going to see how the Genestealer Cultists do here. It might be their TSN turning point, and they may be able to kill some of the later strength Sisters of Battle models. So let's see how it goes. So I'm going to get a couple here, maybe kind of in a row in the dice tray. I'm seeing some stuff here that I wasn't aware of right away, so I'm glad I checked the profiles. The Achilles Ridge Runner, which is kind of in cover, it actually has the Castigator in line of sight and in range. I just fired its twin heavy stubbers. They weren't able to do anything, but there is a heavy mining laser on the Achilles Ridge Runner, which is strength 12. And if it does enough, it's very possible that it could take the Castigator out, as it has 11 wounds. So we're going to see how that goes right now. It is a D3, so we roll a D3, which is a D6 dice cut in half. So I'll explain that as we roll. I have in a couple past videos. So since it's a D3, you're cutting this in half. So instead of a 4, it's a 2. If it had been a 5, it's a 3. If it had been a 6, it's a 3. So we get 2 dice for our attack. We're going to be hitting on a 4+, so a little worse ballistic skill, and that's kind of across the board here from the Genestealer Cultists. Very similar to the Astra Militarum in that regard. So here we go, looking for 4s. And neither worked. So that is good. The Castigator continues. The damage there, if it had gone through the steps, is a d6 + 1. So I'm going to have to really keep that kind of in my back pocket for these Genestealer Cultists. And the big thing here too is, like, yes, we found that sewer grate right away, and the Zephyrim are in there, you know, going to be fighting the Aberrants in just a sec. But it also means that the sisters have to hold that cover, so no more enemy models jump down, or they can pull their allies out when and if the mission is done. So they're going to be hovering around that spot, possibly for a while, kind of like fish in a barrel. So if I'm able to use the Genestealer Cultists with that speed, move them around the table, get things like the mining laser, the heavy mining laser kind of rolling around here, it's very possible that in time, if I get better rolls for them, they could do some damage. So I'm going to keep doing some shoots here off camera, and I'll come back. There's one more that I definitely want to show you guys in the tray. I'll maybe do that last. It's the Benefactus, and he's going to be targeting Morven Val, so we'll see how that goes. But I still have a lot of shoots here, some Neophyte Hybrids, the Goliath truck, the Jackals if they're in range and in line of sight. And then I'll come back to the tray here in just a sec, maybe after wrapping some of that up. And then we have to get into hand-to-hand combat with the Zephyrim down in that tunnel system versus the Aberrants. All right, so I think I might actually get a few more in the dice tray here. Just to sum up what happened there, we had the quad vehicle there from the Adelan Jackals fire into the mortifier, and it did actually wound it, so that's a heavy stubber on there. The other models are not really in line of sight. They'd be shooting the Neophyte Hybrids in the back of the head, or trying to shoot through the Goliath rock truck. So that was the only one kind of there, but it did bring the mortifier from 5 to 4. Still clipping along. I'm going to get these in the tray, so I'm just going to show you guys what's going on here, and then I'll come back and we can sum it up. But the Goliath rock truck with those double auto cannons, very good. It also has a heavy stubber, are probably going to fire into the Rhino. I want to catch this because if the Rhino does get destroyed, there's a possibility that it will have a deadly demise, and it might injure or kill some of the Battle Sisters back here, or the Neophyte Hybrids here, mattering how far that is. I think it's 6 inches, but I'll have to check. I also have poor Canoness Vaheen. She's right out in the open. And if you guys can see up here, the Jackal Alphys has that sniper rifle and has it aimed right at her. So we're going to see what happens there. Definitely going to roll that. And then to finish this up, I do have the Benefactus right on top. 1 wound left. It is their turn though. And that devastating psychic attack is going to be coming down on Morven Val. The Patriarch is actually the Warlord, but I would say on the board right now, since the Patriarch is slumbering and down in the tunnels, that would probably be the Benefactus who's in command, as there are no more Primus or Magus models remaining. After that, it would probably move to the Clamavis or to the Reductus Saboteur. So we're going to get to these shoots right now. I'm going to hop into the tray. We'll get those done, and then we're going to move into hand-to-hand combat. I'm really hoping for the side of the Sisters of Battle that the Rhino does not get destroyed, and that Morven Val can Canoness Vaheen and Morven Val can both survive. So let's get to the tray, and we'll start rolling and see how that goes. Okay, so back to the tray. We're going to start here with the Jackal Alphys versus Canoness Vaheen. Canoness Vaheen has kind of had an up and down narrative so far. She was the commander of this force at the beginning. I hope she's not going to be getting another battle scar here, because that last fight is coming, and it's probably going to be a very tall order, so I need models like her as healthy as they can be. She does have that crippling damage right now, and I think a -1 to OC. But we're going to do this. So the Jackal Alphys is a sniper. It's going to be using the Cult Sniper Rifle. It is a precision attack, which means if you're firing into a unit that's led by a leading character, you can put those shots on the character, and the individual who's using that unit does not have the ability to assign them elsewhere. So no matter what, Canoness Vaheen is alone, it's not going to matter, but just so you guys know what precision is, this is going to be hitting on a 3+, so a much better ballistic skill for the Jackal Alphys, and that difference between a 4+ and a 3+ is pretty huge. That's for saves, that's for shoots, that's for melee, for all that stuff. So here we go. Oh, and didn't get it. Let's see if there's any ability here. So priority targets. Okay, no. Master Outrider in your shooting phase. After this model's unit has shot, if it is not within engagement range of an enemy unit, that unit can make a normal move up to 6 inches. So I could make a 6-inch move. Might keep him up there. He's got 4 wounds. Got some pretty good line of sight right now. So that is it. He's failed. We're going to move to the next one here in just a sec. Okay, next up in the gauntlet here is the Sororitas Rhino. It's going to have an entire section of neophyte hybrids firing upon it. I was just checking out the weapon loadout and what you're allowed, so the war gear options for that unit. So one of the neophyte hybrids can have their neophyte firearm or hybrid firearm replaced with a heavy stubber, a mining laser, or a seismic cannon. So I'm going to have one being a mining laser, which I do have a model there. There's, I think, 3 or 4 that have mining lasers, so that's not possible. And then one is going to have a seismic cannon. The rest, the other 7, have hybrid firearms. So we're going to roll the hybrid firearms first. It does have a rapid fire, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Just get on my dice here. So because it's within 12 inches, they do get an extra rapid fire 1. This is also going to be considered heavy. So there's going to be a bonus for the ballistic skill for the weapons that have that profile, like the mining laser and the seismic cannon. And that is because they did get out of the tank, but they are pretty much right on the ground as soon as they step out, and they are locked in and ready to shoot. So anyways, starting off with the hybrid firearms, hitting on a 4+. Not a bad roll. And this is like very poor strength against, well, a Rhino I would say is kind of a more light tank. Castigator's more medium, and then you got your like Rogodorns, and well, Baneblades are like heavy armor. So all of those are through though. It is a 3 strength versus a toughness 9, so we are going to need 6 to wound here, but with this many through, we might get a couple 6s. And we do. Can't re-roll any of those. And 1 is a 3. I'll get that out. So we're going to pull our dice out here. There's a 0 to AP, so no armor penetration. The Sororitas Rhino has its regular 3+ save. 2 6s. That's what I like to see. So the Rhino's good to go. I could have also used one of my miracle dice. I still have my pool off to the left here. It is a 4 and a 5, so I can use that as a save if I really need it. Now, however, we move into the heavier stuff. So I'm going to start up with the seismic cannon. It is a rapid fire 2, so this is going to be 4 attacks total, hitting on a strength 6. It's 5+ regularly ballistic skill, but since this is heavy, they didn't move. It's 4+ to hit. 3 are through. Strength 6, toughness 9. Going to need 5s to wound. Oh, that's not good. So 3 are through. Very good roll for the Genestealer Cultists there. I'll switch out my save dice here. It is a -1 to AP. That brings our Sororitas Rhino up to a 4+. And 1 wound is off. Oof. I might actually swap in my dice here. So that's a 1. That's not a save right now. However, with the grace of the Emperor and the Miracle Dice pool, I've pulled in a 4. The reason for that is it is a D3 damage. The mining laser has D6 though, so I might be using my other dice here in just a sec. But at least I've negated any wounds there. So the Rhino is currently good to go. Freshly polished. It's actually a little bit chipped up there. It's got 4 wounds. Mining laser is next. It is only 1 shot though, so that's why I want to use that Miracle Dice first. So this is hitting on a 4+ as well because it's a heavy. It did get it. Strength 10 versus toughness 9. That's going to be 3 to wound. And it got that too. So the mining laser has a -3 to AP. That brings the Sororitas Rhino up to a 6+ save. So even my Miracle Dice won't help here. It saved it. Wow. So that could have been D6 + 1 damage. Worst came to worst, it would have been 2 more wounds against the Rhino. It does recuperate wounds there at their next turn, but that's not going to happen yet. So the Rhino is still going. It was unscathed during that shoot. However, there's still the Goliath truck. I'll do that off camera, let you guys know in a sec how that goes. And then we're going to finish up the shoot here with the Benefactus on Morvenval. All right, so that was a stalemate. We saw in the tray there that the Neophyte hybrids tried to fire upon the Rhino. The Goliath truck did as well. Luckily, the twin autocannon did not roll well. I did use its twin linked ability, but that also did not roll well enough. And then the heavy stubber was not able to penetrate. And actually, no save was needed. So the Rhino is still going. It is going to be getting that extra wound as per its ability. Biggest thing now, though, is the Benefactus versus Morvenval. We're going to go back over the tray, finish off the shoot turn or shoot phase for the Genestealer Cultists, and hoping that this luck continues and that Morvenval can come away unscathed, but we'll see. Okay, so here it is. This is the Benefactus, I would say the acting warlord of this Genestealer cult army right now versus the Battle Sisters warlord, Morvenval. So we saw this earlier. It did some super damage to the Rhino, I think it was, or it did something. But it is called the Psionic Cascade. I'm actually going to be using this as a hazardous attack now. So this is the focus witch fire as opposed to the regular witch fire. That gives me an extra dice. I'm going to have to roll a hazardous roll after. The Benefactus has 1 wound, so it's putting all it can into this one. Its head might pop here, we'll see. It's hitting on a 3+. Didn't get it. So that is crazy. I'm going to see if there's any abilities here to let it re-roll or anything. So once per battle at the start of any phase, this model can use this ability. If it does, that's the Psionic Shield. I'll probably lock that in now just to give it a bit of a better chance. So once per battle, at the start of any phase, this model can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the phase, this model has 4+ invulnerable. I'm just doing that now, sorry guys, just to make sure that I'm not missing any abilities, because I definitely want to play as hard as I can for the Genestealer Cultists. And then there's Biohorror Disruption. While this model is leading a unit, ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit have the lethal hits ability, but he's not leading a unit, and the only thing that happened there was a Psionic Shield. I have to see as well if we are going to do a hazardous. So the background, kind of the lore of the hazardous attack is that, I think I've mentioned this before, but psychics in the world of Warhammer 40k need to pull their power from the warp. It doesn't just naturally come to them. And there's only special individuals that have the ability. So when you pull power from the warp, there's a possibility it's going to pretty much nuke your brain. I think I did this with the orcs. With the weird boy. I might have described that in the previous battle against the Sisters of Battle, because that was the only psychic model they had. So I'll just read here. Weapons with hazardous in their profile. So this is not just psychic, but also if you have a plasma pistol and you supercharge it, or a heavy plasma cannon, whatever, it's got the ability to blow up in your face, take your arm off, whatever it is. So that's what this is about. So each time a unit is selected to shoot or fight, after that unit has resolved all of its attacks, for each hazardous weapon that targets were selected for when resolving those attacks, that unit must take 1 hazardous test. So in this case, it is the Benefactus. To do so, roll 1d6. On a 1, that test is failed. For each failed test, you must resolve the following sequence. So let's see first what we're going to get here. So if it's a 1, we have to continue with the sequence. If not, it ends there. And it was a 6. So nothing happened here for the Benefactus. I did lock in the Psionic Shield, which is going to give it that 4+ invulnerable. I hope I can remember that when I'm going across the board with all these models. Next up is going to be the hand-to-hand combat between the Aberrants and the Zephyrim. I'm not going to lie, I'm very worried about the Zephyrim. They don't have anyone to kind of buff them out right now. They're down in a sewer system flying around with jump packs, and the Aberrants have massive power sledgehammers, and they also have the initiative in a very small, tight, confined space. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to do that in just a sec. I will check out their profiles, and we'll start the camera up right in the tray and get that going. Ooh, here we go. Are we ready? This is the Aberrants versus the Zephyrim squad down in that sewer system or power generation system underneath this Manufactorum. It looks like the Aberrants profile changed, and this is probably, I don't know about the most recent balanced status slate, but maybe previous, but now they're just called Aberrant weapons, very similar to what happened to the 8-bound. So they used to have, like, I think power sledgehammers or something, or maybe that's the Abominant. They're still quite devastating. So we're going to see how it goes here. There are 5 models in total, and they have 3 attacks apiece. So this is going to be 15 attacks. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Very good weapon skill here too. Again, similar to a unit like the 8 bound. They also have a very high toughness of 6. So when the Zephyrim and if the Zephyrim gets a counterattack, we'll see what they can do. I'm also seeing that there is a hulking bodyguards ability here too. So while a character is leading this unit, and I'm going to say that even though the Patriarch is slumbering, it definitely still has its psychic powers to control these creatures, and the aberrants are not very smart. They're kind of like deviations that didn't go right with the Genestealer hybrids or Acolyte hybrids, and they turn into these hulking beasts that are just completely loyal to the Patriarch and to their family. They'll take bullets for anything. They'll go destroy anything that they're told to destroy. So he's going to be controlling them. And in that case, the hulking bodyguards, as well, characters leading this unit, each time an attack targets this unit, if the strength characteristic of that attack is greater than the toughness characteristic of this unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. So that might not be the case here with the Zephyrim, as I know they have a strength 4, but in the future, if we have, I don't know, Paragon Warsuits jumping down, or possibly the Sisters Repentia, something like that, that have a higher or same toughness strength weapon, it's going to affect them, but they also have that Feel No Pain 5+ as well. So these are a really good unit to get stuck in, very hard to kill. And if an Abominant is leading them, it has the ability to regenerate wounds too. So very, 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 very good unit for the Genestealer Cultists. And they didn't always have these guys. They were newer. So it's good to have kind of a bit of a hand-to-hand combat punch. Anyways, here we go. So hitting on a 3+. Quite a few fell off. Just pick them out. So there we go. Those are all through. It is a strength 7 weapon versus a toughness of 3. So this is going to be 2s to wound. Ooh, that's good for the Zephyrim. A couple more fell off. Not enough, though, I don't think. So it's a -2 to AP. That brings our Zephyrim up to their 5+ invulnerable. I'm just going to use these dice. So these are now switching over to the Zephyrim because I don't want to grab a bunch of dice and maybe miss one or add one by accident. So 5+ here for the Zephyrim, and everyone that is not a 5 is going to be 2 damage, and the Zephyrim have only 1 wound apiece and no character model leading them. So this, we'll see. Ooh, here we go, 5s. Ooh, not bad, not bad. So we have 2 6s, 2 5s. 3 are through, however, so that is 2, 4, 6. Shit, that is enough. The Zephyrim have been killed. So you can picture that, you know, they're swinging these hammers around, and it doesn't matter if there's, you know, one model out front, they're going to be going through everybody. So the Zephyrim have been killed again. This sucks. I brought these guys in to give a little bit of hand-to-hand combat punch. I'm not going to lie. Maybe Seraphim should be better because they have the bolt pistols. So they'd be able to kind of like fly down and pin people with bolt pistols. Not the greatest, but this unit in hand-to-hand combat has not been great. So they have been killed. That's going to be another battle scar for my Zephyrim squad going into that final fight, which is the next one. And the Aberrants have won, so they have taken no wounds. They're still blocking the doorway, so any other units that come down are probably going to have to face their wrath right away. I'm maybe even thinking I should get the Retributors over there, drop them in, and just blast away at these things with Melta, Heavy Bolter, Flamer, which is great for kind of a confined space. But the problem is my Retributors are halfway, no, the whole way across the table. So we'll see how that goes. I might have to start getting some range down there, but the Aberrants have 3 wounds apiece too, so a bunch of bolt guns firing at them, probably not going to do anything. So I got to get a strategy here. And this is, meanwhile, my Genestealer Cultists here are fighting the Sisters of Battle and picking them off, as I said at the start of this turn, kind of like fish in a barrel. So I got to get a strategy together for both sides, and this might be longer than we think, but with that hand-to-hand combat melee, that is the end of turn 2 for the Genestealer Cultists, and we're going to be moving back over to the Sisters of Battle to start up turn 3. All right, we were in the dice tray for quite a while, so just want to show you guys the Zephyrim have been killed. There are 6 wounds delivered to their 5 by the Aberrants. These are going to be very tough models to get out of here. The perfect models to have chosen to protect their slumbering Patriarch, who's kind of still able to control them a little bit in its psychic slumber. Over on this side, we are moving back to the Sisters of Battle, but time once again is going to be of the essence, and also of extreme importance to make sure that we can start taking models out and getting the squads down into the sewer system to be able to try to extract or kill those aberrants and get the Patriarch dead. So back over here, I'm going to go to the dice tray. We are going to roll the miracle dice. Make sure that I have that for the beginning of their turn. Also have to remember that that Benefactus has the 4+ invulnerable in case things start to come down on it for this phase. It's only once per battle, so I have to remember for this turn, as I believe it's probably going to be taking a lot of firepower. Best case scenario, I can kill all the remaining Genestealers here and just continue to drop people down into the sewer here to try to fight the aberrants. I might actually drop the Sisters of Battle squad down, but after my miracle dice roll, I will do some strategy. I have to get something going here. I kind of went off the hip here, and it might have been actually a little bit better strategy battle than I thought. At the start, I was like, oh shit, the Genestealer Cultists, their sewer system has already been found, but in the confinement of that space and the strength and toughness of the creatures that are down there protecting the Patriarch, it might be tougher than I thought. So I've got to play this really well, hopefully pick off the right Genestealer models at the right time and get down and start to peel some wounds off those aberrants to try to win this one, because the sisters need it to at least go into their final battle 3-2. But we'll see. Over the tray, miracle dice roll, and hopefully Morven Val can pull out a win for them. Alrighty, so here it is, the Adepta Sororitas turn 3 miracle dice roll. I do still have a 5 in my pool. I used the 4 there last turn to get some saves going, which may have actually saved the Rhino, so it was a good call. It is a 3, not the best, but that might be something that I'm going to use there for Morven Val's Righteous Repugnance to be able to discard a dice and get some extra attacks in there, especially I'm looking at the Aberrant too, and the Abominant, and the Aberrants that are on the table beside the Benefactus. They're actually looking pretty yummy right now, and they might be in range for my Paragon Warsuits or for Morven Val. Get her in there and start doing her thing. Yeah, but time to strategize. I have to really think about this, and then we'll get into the move, and I'll show you guys what I've done for the Sisters of Battle. So here's what the battlefield is looking at the start of turn 3 for the Adepta Sororitas. The two armies are starting to collide here. Down on this side, we have the Retributors who've jumped off of their building. They are going to lose their heavy ability for the bonus there for a ballistic skill, but they are able to get in range there. And with the Penitent Engine there, the Multi-Meltas who have been firing it in the back, so they didn't have line of sight. So I wanted to make sure that they can all fire into these Genestealer hybrids. Over here, we had the Immolator move forward. It is trying to move as quickly as it can to get over to that sewer grate that has the Celestian Sacrosanct and Hospitaller in it. Still probably another move at least to get over there and drop them off. Over here, the Sisters Repenti are probably going to be the next in the gauntlet there to take on the the hot gates of Thermopylae down in the sewers. So they're going to be rushing in there to try to do what they can against the Aberrants after the Zephyrim went down there last turn. Over here, the Sisters of Battle have wheeled around as kind of a defensive line to start to fire into the hybrids here. There's also the Truck and the Adelan Jackals. The Castigators wheeled around too to help out on that front. The Sororitas Rhino is going to be firing at the Benefactus likely because we have Morven Val and her Paragon Warsuits taking on the Aberrant and the Abominants. That is going to be one hell of a hand-to-hand combat scrap. I'm really hoping that they can at least wound 50% of that unit and maybe kill the Aberrant, but the Aberrant does have that ability to regenerate wounds, so we will see what happens. And that actually reminds me, since the Rhino has that ability, I have to switch this to 5 from 4, so I'll do that in a sec. So I'm going to get any of the shoots here, probably get a couple on camera, and then the rest will be off camera, and then I'll, of course, come back and show you guys what has happened. Yeah, we still have to get down into this damn sewer system, though, and kill these Abominants that are protecting or the Aberrants protecting the Patriarch. So let's get to the shoots and then we'll see what we do. Okay, so I'm going to start getting a few of these on camera. There's been some stuff that's happened on the table that I will sum up in just a sec. Very successful round by the Penitent Engine, the Retributors, and the Battle Sister Squad with the Heavy Bolter being led by the Imagifier. The Retributors and the Battle Sister Squad each got a unit kill, so they have gained experience for that. It is now going to be the Sororitas Rhino firing its Stormbolter. We'll have to see if this kills the Benefactus, because it currently has that 4+ invulnerable ability that it's able to lock in once per battle, and that's the Psionic Shield. So I could have put the Castigator all of its rounds on the Benefactus, but I think the Castigator is going to be used better against the Goliath truck. Or if the Mortifier can take care of the truck, maybe the Castigator against the Jackals. So I'm going to have to figure that out in just a sec. But we are using the Stormbolter here. It's got the rapid fire ability as well. So it's going to be 4 shots instead of 2 against the Benefactus. And I'm hoping it has just enough firepower to be able to take it out, because the Benefactus does have that 1 wound remaining. So here we go, looking for 3 pluses. Okay, I am going to use the 3 that I rolled from my miracle dice at the beginning of this turn to replace this guy. This one's not there. I need this. The Benefactus is a very powerful enemy that can probably crush the or burn out the Rhino during its next turn if it needs to. So it is a strength 4 weapon, the Stormbolter, versus toughness 3, 3s to wound. Shit, I don't want to use my other dice because I might have to use Righteous Repugnance there when we get into hand-to-hand. So I'm going to remove my Miracle Dice. 2 attacks are through, so that's the original profile of the Stormbolter. So it's always good to have that rapid fire to up the odds a little bit. The Benefactus does have the 4+ invulnerable right now, so looking for 4s here. If there is not a 4 rolled, then the Benefactus has been killed, and the Rhino is going to get a unit kill. There we go. So not great luck for the Benefactus. I maybe should have changed out the red dice there instead of black, just to keep that going, but that was the Benefactus' save. So neither was the 4+ invulnerable. The Stormbolter blasted it right in that big sort of psychic head, blew the head right off of it. It is done. And now I will sum up a bit of the shoot, and I'll show you guys what's going on there with the Castigator and the Mortifier, and what I think about doing with those 2 units to try to optimize the Sisters of Battle here for the last bit of their shoot. All right, so let's sum up this side first. So this is what I was saying in the dice tray there. The Retributors teamed up the Penitent Engine and burnt out the entire Neophyte Hybrid squad that was behind the pipe there. There is the Acolyte Hybrids still coming in behind, but they are still far enough away. I think I also may have figured out the focus on my camera. I don't know what happened, if it did an update or reset, but there was a couple of settings that were weird that didn't make sense, and I don't think I did them, so maybe it did something. Over here, we will show you guys this. So this is the Battle Sister squad with the Heavy Bolter led by the Imagifier. They also took out the entire Neophyte Hybrid squad here that was beside the Goliath truck. So my strategy here is we have the Mortifier and the Castigator that definitely have line of sight and range for the Goliath truck. My big thing here is there's the Heavy Bolters, which are going to be better against probably the Jackals. So I think I'm going to try to use the Castigator battle cannon on the Goliath truck. The truck has 1 wound remaining as well, so a very good chance that it might be going down here, and it's got some pretty good weapon systems. So if that gets taken out, it's going to be great for the Sisters. And then this does have its Heavy Bolter arrays, so if I'm able to take out the Goliath truck with the Castigator cannon, I can start using those Heavy Bolters as well against the Adelan Jackals, and maybe even the Jackal Alphas up here on the tower. And then, of course, we saw as well here in the tray, the Rhino got some pretty good shots there, was able to use its rapid fire, which helped out a bunch. And the Benefactus is no more. That was a worrisome model because it has that Psionic Witch Fire or something like that. And it also had that Psionic Shield on it, so that is now gone. There is still the Achilles Ridge Runner, though, very quick vehicle. And we do have the Reductus Saboteur in behind here. During my last crusade, I actually forgot about her against my Cadian, and she was able to come out and do some serious damage against a Rogel Dorn. The Rogel Dorn is a pretty good tank, better than, sadly, anything the Sisters have. So if she decides to pop out and throw a mine, or get that mine ability set up, that Rhino might be done, or it might really affect the Castigator. So I'm going to go back to the tray. We'll get these started here. It's going to be the Castigator versus the Goliath truck, then possibly the Jackals, mattering what I need to take that thing out. And then same thing with the Mortifier here. So let's go back to the tray and we'll get rolling. Alrighty, so Castigator battle cannon time. Let's see how this goes. D6 +3 to see how many attacks we're getting with that blast. Not great. So we have 2 plus the 3. It's going to be 5 dice total. I still have 1 miracle dice as well, that 5, but I might want to use that in the melee here for more involved, but we'll see if I really need it here, if it's going to make the difference between destroying this truck or not. It is hitting on a 3+. So that is one that fell off. Still got a few through. It is strength 10 versus a toughness 9, so this is going to be 3s to wound. All of those are through. That's fantastic. I'm going to switch out for red dice this time, just, to make sure that the Genestealers have a chance. We'll see if it makes a difference. So it usually has a 3+ save. It is going up to a 4+. I'm just going to check its abilities again. It does have a deadly demise, so I'm going to have to remember that. So it's going up to a 4+ here because of the -1 armor penetration from the Castigator Battle Cannon. And it made a hell of a lot of saves. So 3 saves were made. 1 was not made, and that is 3 damage. So the Goliath Rock Truck, or Goliath Truck as now they're called. There used to be 2 different profiles for this thing. It has been destroyed. There is, however, a deadly demise, which means that there's, ammunition on here, definitely like probably mine charges and stuff, as well as ammunition for the stub gun and for the autocannons. So that's going to explode. So I'll just read here, and this has been covered a few times, but deadly demise D3. So D3 is the kind of damage that happens if the deadly demise actually occurs. And I'm going to see if there's anything in a sec there within that 6 inches, because that could actually, or whatever the inches are, I think it's 6 for this, that could affect the Adelan Jackals as well in behind. So this is the core ability. Some models have deadly demise X. In this case, the X is a D3 listed in their abilities. When such a model is destroyed, which is what just happened to it, roll 1d6 before removing it from play. If such a model is a transport, roll before any embarked models disembark. There's no one in it right now. They were all just killed by that Sisters Battle squad. They were hybrid, neophyte hybrids in there. So on a 6, each unit within 6 inches of that model suffers a number of mortal wounds denoted by the X. So I can tell you right now, I'm across the other side of the table, but the Adelan Jackals are definitely in that 6 inches. And sadly, the Sister Rhino is as well. I'm not sure about the, let me see here. Yes, the Jackal Alphys is also in the range of that. The Mortifier is in range. The Sister Battle Squad is just outside, and the Castigator is just outside. So there could be a lot of models here that are going to be affected if I roll a 6. So it's kind of bittersweet here because it might kill some Sisters, but it's definitely going to do some damage to some of the Genestealer Cultists if I roll a 6. So here we go. And it's a 1. So the Goliath truck has been destroyed. Nothing happened. So its engine block was destroyed or something like that. It is removed from play. That is a kill by the Castigator. That also opens up the line of sight now for all of the Adelan Jackals to be lit up by the heavy bolters of the Mortifier and of the Castigator. So I'm going to remove the model, give the experience unit kill point to the Castigator, and then we'll move forward with the rest of the rolls here for the remainder of the shoot. All right, so Goliath truck has been removed. That Castigator has got a lot of kills this campaign. It's been in there from the start. I know that I've said it's kind of more of a lightly armored tank, but it's still able to deal some damage, especially against kind of a more lighter armored army like the Genestealer Cultists. So we're going to continue here with the heavy bolters. So there are 3 different heavy bolter weapon systems on this thing. One is the hull mounted, and then there's 2 sponson mounted. So I'm going to be rolling a lot of dice here. And this is against the Adelan Jackals. So it's going to be hitting on a 3+. That's the first one. That's the second one. And there's the third. So the roll started off great. I did lose a few shots. So those either missed completely or bounced off of a gas tank on one of the Adelan Jackals or something. But we do have 5 shots through. It is a strength 5 weapon versus the Adelan Jackals, which are a toughness of 4. So this is going to be 3s to wound. I'm not going to use that miracle dice. I need to save it, but there are 4 attacks, which is pretty damn good. -1 to AP. I will switch these dice out so we can differentiate. It brings the Adelan Jackals up to a 6+. I'm also going to see if they have any abilities that aid them with this. Advance or fall back? No. So nothing there. So this is going to be 6 pluses. 2 were saved. Quite impressive there by those Adelan Jackals. They have 2 wounds apiece for the bikers, and then the Adelan Wolf Quad has 4 wounds. So I'm going to be allocating the 4 wounds that are here because the heavy bolters do 2 damage, so 2, 4. I'm going to remove 2 models from the bike squad. That is the end of the castigator, but there is still the heavy bolters of the mortifier to come. So I'm just going to remove those models, and we'll see if the mortifier can take any more wounds away from them. Alrighty, so here we go. This is the end of the shoot. I'm just looking around if there's anything else. I think that's going to be it, is the mortifier firing its double heavy bolters into the Adelan Jackals. I was just looking as I was removing these guys. They're cool models. I like the Genestealer Cultists a lot. They were in my Acadian Crusade 2, kind of a Black Hawk Down scenario. If you guys want to watch the playlist for the Acadian narrative, it's a really good fight. It was a very good battle as well for the Acadian to get a lot of experience points, and it seems to be the same here. But there's still the victory indicator. We need to get down and kill that Patriarch, so I have to get that done in the next couple turns, or that's the end of the game. And it doesn't matter how many models you kill. If you don't do the victory indicator, you're not winning. Anyways, here we go. So this is going to be the heavy bolters. So once again, I'm going to roll the sets here. So 3 attacks each. All through there. And 1 fell off. I'm not going to use my miracle dice. So we have 5 through again. Pretty damn good. Strength 5, toughness 4, 3s to wound. 2 fell off. -1 to AP. This brings our Adelans up to that 6+ save. You know what? Switch the red dice out. Yeah, they're rolling pretty good. So another save here. However, there has been 2 more bikes taken out, which is the end of the bikes. So that's 2 4 wounds. Going to remove those. The Wolf Quad remains, and the Wolf Quad does have a heavy stubber on it. So that might pepper those Battle Sisters that just lit up the Neophyte Hybrid Squad. And the heavy stubber is a perfect weapon to take out light infantry like the Battle Sisters. So that is still to come in the next turn, but we'll see. That concludes the shoot phase. I'll show you guys a table here in just a sec, and then we're going to get to hand-to-hand combat, which is going to be one hell of a scrap. So I would say a very successful shoot there by the Castigator and the Mortifier. They were able to decimate the Adelan Jackals. There is only the Wolf Quad remaining. It does have that heavy stubber though, and there is a lightly armored, lightly toughness unit of Battle Sisters here, so we'll see what happens. Also, we still have the Jackal Alphys up here with his sniper rifle, and it looks like he still has Canonist Vaheen in line of sight and also in range, so we're going to see what happens there. Before we move back over here to the Genestealer Cultists, however, there is this hand-to-hand combat fight, which is going to be insane. It is Morven Val, our warlord for the Battle Sisters, versus an Abominant and the Aberrants that are teamed up with it. So we're going to see how that goes. Over to the tray right now to get this one going. And as I said, it's going to be one hell of a scrap. Okay, this is it. This might be the biggest melee fight of the battle until we get down into that sewer system and maybe get the Sacrosants versus the Aberrants down there, or the Sister Repentia, something like that. Because of the kind of weight of this fight, I am going to lock in, even though it's a 5, it was a really good dice roll, I'm going to lock in the Righteous Repugnance. So this adds 3 attacks to the characteristics of Fidelis and the Lance of Illumination, which are Morven Val's weapons. So we are going to start with that and move ahead with the Lance of Illumination. The Aberrants have a toughness of 6, and the sweep profile of Morven Val is a 5 strength. So I want something that's going to get my dice up higher. I get less attacks, but I'm going to use the strike profile. And with the Righteous Repugnance being activated, the attacks go from 5 to 8. So that's going to be hopefully a turning point. So I'm just going to grab my dice. 2, 4, 6, 8. So we're going to roll these now. This is Lance of Illumination strike profile. It is 8 attacks as opposed to its regular 5 because I used the miracle dice for this. It is hitting on a 2+. Don't like seeing ones. It's a 2+. Come on. So strength 8 versus toughness 6. This is going to be 3s to wound instead of 5. So hopefully going to be easier. That's what I like to see. So every single one of the remaining attacks has gone through. I'm going to use these dice to save now for the aberrants because I don't want to grab a bunch of red dice. I only have one hand here because I have my other hand on the iPhone that has the app on it. So the strike profile is a -2 to AP. The aberrants actually do not have, oh shit, let me see here. They've got to feel no pain. They don't have an invulnerable save. I thought they used to. Maybe they did previously. I know the abominant, I think, does for sure. The feel no pain is going to help them here though. So right now, all of these attacks are through. But since it has the feel no pain 5+, we're looking for 5s now to see if it's going to save any of this damage. And that's a pretty fucking good roll. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 saves that have been made for the aberrants due to that feel no pain at 5+. There is 3 damage per though, however, that has gone through. So this is 3, 6, 9 damage. Each model has 3 wounds, so that means 3 of them have been killed. So all that remains is the abominant and 1 aberrant, and the abominant has 5 wounds. So what's going to happen here now is my Paragon Warsuits that are also teamed up with Morven Val are going to be attacking as well. And I'm going to be able to allocate the profile of the Paragon Suit Superior to probably the Aberrant, and then I'm going to use the Maces to fight the Abominant. And that's because they're 2 different weapon profiles, so you know they're kind of commanding each other on the battlefield here. At least this is how I see it. So the Paragon Suit Superior, Sister Superior is saying like, okay, I'm going to take the Aberrant on the left, you guys take the Abominant because those maces are stronger, and she knows that. So they're going to be fighting now to see if they can kill these remaining models. And then, as I said, the Abominant does have that ability to come back. But we're going to go to the Paragon Warsuits now, get their profile up. And I'm going to start with the Paragon Warblade. So this is 4 attacks, hitting on a 3+. Wow, okay. 2 fell off, and I don't have a miracle dice left. Maybe I should have saved that. It is strength 8, though, against toughness 6. This is going to be 3s to wound again. And another one fell off. That is not good. So we have a 4. And in doing this, I might have to now allocate the wounds from the maces to the aberrant as well. But we'll see. So it's a -2 to AP. That again brings the aberrant to a save it cannot make, but it does have that feel no pain 5+. So we're looking for a 5 here for the aberrant. Did not get it. The Paragon Warblade is only 2 wounds, however, so the aberrant still has 1 wound remaining. Can't kill these things. They're very difficult to kill. So there we go. I just changed out the token. And since this is a unit, I can allocate those remaining wounds to the maces, so or to the aberrant. So you're seeing like the Paragon Warsuit Sister Superior swiped, took a couple wounds off. The aberrant's bleeding out, but they're like, shit, we need to use these remaining attacks to take it out. And as the controlling player for the Genestealer Cultists, I can allocate that as well that way. So it's going to be 3 attacks here with the mace, hitting on a 3+, and that's coming in from both of them. So there we go. These are through. It is a strength 12 versus toughness 6, 2s to wound. I should have given my Paragon Suit Sister Superior a mace. I don't know why I gave her the sword. It does have more attacks, but like, holy fuck, the strength 12 is incredible. I was really hoping to be able to fight those greater demons or 2, or, you know, just the higher models, but they went out pretty quick there versus Khorne. Anyways, -1 to AP this time, so that is a save possible by the aberrant. It's going to be a 6+. So both of those were failed. However, does have the feel no pain 5+, so I still get to roll again. And it did save 1. 1 is through. That's 3 wounds. So the aberrant has been killed, but we do have the abominant here that has a very, very good melee profile that is going to be able to fight back here. And as we did with the Genestealer Cultists, as I'm also playing for the Sisters of Battle, I can assign those wounds to the Paragon Warsuits before they go towards Morven Val. So this is the Power Sledgehammer. It is 4 attacks, hitting on a 3+. That's really good. I'm going to see if there's any ability here for him to reroll or anything. Okay. Okay, and there's also, oh, I'm glad I checked this. So there's something called the Chosen One, which is a skill of the Abominant, and this means actually that any of the models that were just killed get to fight. So I'm just going to read this. So the Chosen One, while this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit is destroyed by a melee attack, which is what just happened to those aberrants, if that model has not fought this phase, roll 1d6. On a 4+, do not remove the destroyed model from play. It can fight after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks and then is removed from play. So that means I'm going to start with the Abominant here, but then the Aberrants are all going to be able to fight back. I did not know that. I may have chipped away at these guys with range if that was the case, because this could be absolutely deadly for my sisters. So back to the Abominant. 2 did not hit. I checked the abilities to see if there's any kind of reroll or a twin link or something. There wasn't, but I found that other devastating ability. So there's 3 and 5. This is strength 12 versus toughness 7. So this is going to be 3s to wound. So another one fell off. This is good for the Paragon Warsuits. This one is through, however, though. It's -2 to AP. That brings them up to their 4+ invulnerable. And they saved it. So if they had not saved that, or more attacks had gone through that weren't saved, it's D6 +1 for the damage. So if he had gotten all of his attacks through, it's very possible that that could have been 21 wounds. So yeah, the Abominant you don't want to mess around with. We are now, however, going to allow the Aberrants to fight here. I've removed them from play, but because of that rule, they're going to be able to fight here, and this is not good. So there were 4 of them. Again, I'm going to be allocating these to the Paragon Warsuits. So the 4 have 3 attacks apiece. That's going to be 12 in total. So I'm 3, 6, 9, 12. I'm going to check their abilities too to just be damn sure. Okay. So this is going to be hitting on 3+. Oh, that's really good. A lot fell off there. A lot of 2s and a 1. Huge. I needed that, or this could have been really bad for the sisters. And the Paragon Warsuits, I think, have lost in every single fight they've been in so far, or at least been killed. So they've taken a lot of battle scars, and I've used a lot of requisition points this game to just try to remove that stuff. So this is strength 7 versus toughness 7, so 4s to wound. That was a damn good roll. So the 2 falls out. It is a -2 to AP. I'm going to use these now for the sisters. So that is going to bring them up to their 4+ invulnerable. Oh no. That one, if I move this, it's a 1. So there's 1 save made. Oh my god, this isn't good. So with the aberrant weapons, there's 2, 4, 6, 8 damage that's been administered. That is the death of 2 of my Paragon Warsuits again. So they were able to fight back. They've killed 2 Paragon Warsuits in return. The Abominant is still alive, which has the ability to also regenerate wounds. So not the greatest turn for the sisters. They were able to kill the Aberrants, but before they went down, they fought back and fought back hard and killed a lot of my models. So that is it for turn 3 of the Adepta Sororitas. This goes back over to the Genestealer Cultists now for their move. So I'm going to do that, and I will show you guys the table in just a sec. So the Genestealer Cultist models are dwindling, but what remains is really holding back this force from kind of being able to get down that sewer system, and it's actually picking away at some of my good models. I know we've only lost the Zephyrim so far and 2 Paragon Warsuits, but the battle scars are always a big thing, and there might be more here. So the Wolf Quad has driven right up. I wanted to get that rapid fire ability from the Heavy Stubber. It is going to absolutely light up that Battle Sisters unit, probably before going down next turn, but it doesn't matter. It is not the Sisters' turn. It is their turn, so he's going to be able to shoot. As I showed you guys, the Jackal Alphys is still up on there. Again, may go down next turn, but he wants to take out Canonist Vaheen before he does. Another huge issue here is the Reducta Saboteur has come out from hiding. She has her mine definitely within range of the Rhino there. I'll read that ability when I get over to the tray. That's probably going to be the first thing I do, just to make sure that we don't miss that. And the designer's note here is there is a token. I'll grab that to show you guys. So it's a little mine token, kind of out of focus, but you use that. It's only once per battle, so as soon as this turn is, or this ability is used, it's discarded. But for now we have it, and there's a mine that she has set up, and the Rhino is going to explode hopefully not get destroyed, but we'll see what the rolls happen. The Abominant, being a big hulking beast, has gone back into hand-to-hand combat, this time with the initiative versus Morven Vol and the Soul Paragon Warsuit. So we're going to see how that goes. I'm a little worried, especially with that damn super sledgehammer, whatever it has. And then over here, the Acolyte Hybrids have moved up to fill in the hole. These guys have not been able to leave the whole battle, so they've been tied up by wave after wave of Genestealer Cultists. It's good because they're getting some kills in, but they're not able to go join the fray over there, because if they do, this flank is going to open, and these Genestealers would have continued to just go right in this way. The Achilles Ridge Runner has also pulled up. It has that mining laser on it, very strong weapon, and it's probably going to be lighting up the Penitent Engine here that's down to 3 wounds, so that might go down as well here. We're going to see how it goes, but I'm going to do that Reductus Saboteur move right now, the ability with the mine, and then we'll get to any shoots that are happening, and then I'll come back and sum it all up. Okay, so here we go. This is a very cool ability from a newer model for the Genestealer Cultists, the Reductus Saboteur. It is called Planted Explosives, so I'll read the ability. Once per battle, when an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move within 9 inches of this model can use its Reductus Mine. And that has happened because the Rhino rolled up, didn't know the Reductus was there, so she's been within 9 inches for a while. I could have probably actually done this last turn, but this is what's happening now. So if it does, roll 1d6. On a 2+, that enemy unit suffers d3 plus 3 mortal wounds. Only one model from your army with this ability can use it in the same battle round. So if I had a couple different Reductus Saboteurs out here, I can only use it once per battle round, and it is once per battle. I only have one model, so that's what we're doing. So here it is. If you are cheering Sisters of Battle, you want to see a 1. If you're cheering for these very sneaky kind of guerrilla fighter Genestealer Cultists, you want to see a 2 or more. And it has happened. So it is a 3. That means that the planted explosives have gone off underneath the Sororitas Rhino track. Now we have to see how much damage it is. So it's going to be d3 plus 3. So there's a guarantee of 3 wounds. We just have to see what that d3 is going to be. And the Rhino did regenerate a wound there as per its ability. So it's back up to 5. So it's possible it could survive this. We have to see what's going on though. So let's roll our d3. And that is fantastic. So it is 1 plus 3. That's 4 wounds. The Rhino still has 1 wound remaining. And it will regenerate here after the turn. But there is the Jackal Alphas up there. Might change the trajectory of that bullet. Or the Wolf Quad might fire the heavy stubber into the Rhino. I don't think so, though, because that doesn't make very good sense in regards to the strength of those weapons and the toughness of the armor. But anyways, the Rhino is down to 1 wound. But that ability has been removed. There are no more planted explosives from the Reductus Saboteur. So I'm going to do some more shoots. I will come back and show you guys how everything is and how many models may have gone down from the Genestealer's assault. So just doing the shoot there, I had the heavy stubbers of the Achilles Ridge Runner fire into the Penitent Engine. Nothing was done. However, that heavy mining laser, very, very effective. It was able to destroy the Penitent Engine. Even though that this used to be probably like an ex-convict or someone who had done heresy and strapped into the Penitent Engine, there is still an active faith, so I can roll a miracle dice for them. So I'm going to do that right now. And it's a 1, so that looks like it's going to be great for Righteous Repugnance again, if I need that. But yeah, the Penitent Engine has gone down. It's going to have a Battle Scar against it. It now has 3 in total. And I believe the last battle is probably going to be an objective control battle. This Sister's army is beat the hell up. So I'm going to have to see. I get 1 requisition point at the end of this. I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to do there. If I'm going to add more models in to possibly get some more OC points, try to remove a requisition point, we'll have to see. But yeah, I'm going to continue doing the shoots here, a few left, and then we're definitely going to get into the hand-to-hand combat. But I'll sum everything up before that, and then we'll get into the melee between the Abominant, Morven Vol, and the Paragon Warsuit. So we did lose the Penitent Engine there, as I was saying in the tray, but the heavy stubber of the Wolf Quad, not able to do anything. The Imagifier with that amazing ability to give the troops a 2+ save was fantastic. The Jackal Alphas also did not have any luck. Only 1 shot with that precision rifle, so kind of sucks that you got to roll a bit higher, but he did get a 2+ because it's a heavy weapon. Fired, but it was not strong enough to penetrate Canoness Vaheen, so she is still healthy with 5 wounds. We're going to be moving back over here to Morven Val, the Paragon Warsuit versus the Abominant, and the Abominant does have the initiative. And then there's the Achilles Ridge Runner, which blasted away the Penitent Engine. Less and less Genestealer models, but I don't have anyone down in the sewers right now. And the unit that had gone down, the Zephyrim, were killed in one sweep without doing any wounds back. So I have to get a unit down there that is going to be good to go. After this melee, it's going back over to the Sisters of Battle, and it looks like the Sisters Repentia are up to hop down into the sewers and to try to kill some of those aberrants. The onslaught may continue here. This is the Abominant versus the Paragon Warsuit and Morven Val. I am going to be allocating the Abominant's wounds to the Paragon Warsuit first, so this might be the end of that model, which means that's going to be another battle scar, which means that's going to be affecting them again for the final battle. But let's see how it goes. I might be jumping to conclusions here. So this is the Power Sledgehammer again. 4 attacks hitting on a 3+. That is good. 2 fell off. And I'm just checking here again. Yeah, so I don't know. It's while this unit is, or while this model is leading a unit, it's being able to fight. So I'm not going to be able to use the chosen one this time. I was just checking that out. 2 are through though. It is strength 12 versus toughness 7. This is going to be 3s to wound. 2 are through, -2 to AP. That brings the Paragon Warsuit up to the 4+ save. Saved 1, but this is going to be D6 +1 damage. And that is the end of the Paragon Warsuit. So that is 4 + 1, 5 damage to a 4 wound model. That is not good. The Paragon Warsuits go down in another fight. This is probably at least 3, I think, that they've gone down in. Not the end here, though, because Morven Val is going to be able to fight back. And I was just reading her ability, and it looks like Righteous Repugnance is anytime this model is selected to fight. So guess what I'm doing? You guys saw me roll that garbage 1. It's still a Miracle Dice. I'm activating that right now. She is going to get an extra 3 attacks from her Lance of Illumination. That brings it from 5 to 8. I'm going to be using the strike profile again. Just going to grab these dice. 3, 6, 8. So let's see if she can finish this Abominant, and let's see. Hopefully it doesn't come back after she strikes it down. So hitting on a 2+. Fucking one. Get out of here, you fucking won. Anyways, 2+. Strength 8, toughness 6, 3s to wound. Oh man, 2 more off. Another 1. It's okay though. I got those extra attacks in there. So this is back to her original attack profile. So if I'd started with just that, I'd only be down to a couple of dice right now. So I'll take it. I'm going to use these to save for the Abominant. So it's -2 to AP. That brings it up to, it doesn't have an invulnerable, and it does have a feel no pain. Let's jump on the gun there. So this is going to be 5+. Ooh, so 1 save. However, it is 3 damage per 3, 6, 9, 12. So currently, the Abominant, who only has 5 wounds, is dead. Let's see if it's going to be able to regenerate its gene mass. So I'll read that ability right now. The first time this model is destroyed, so that is now, roll 1d6 at the end of the phase. On a 2+, set this model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed and not within engagement range of any enemy units with its full wounds remaining. So if I roll a 2+ here, it comes back with 5 full wounds, and it's probably going to want to scrap again because it's just a big, beastly, stupid Genestealer Cultist thing. So hopefully this time the fucking 1 is a good fucking 1. So let's see. Nope, it's coming back. So that was a 6. I just flipped it. It was a 6, so that means that the Abominant is coming back. I'm going to set it up here. It's got a 6-inch move, so it's going to be 7 inches back, right beside the Achilles Ridge Runner, with 5 full wounds. So the Paragon Warsuits and Morven Val put everything they had into killing this damn thing. It has just regenerated its gene mass, and it is back on the battlefield, but it is going back over to the Sisters of Battle here for the 4th turn. While we're live on the camera, I will roll my dice here for, actually I got one for the Paragon Warsuit, so we're going to do that first. So it's a 4, and for the start of the next turn, and it's a 6. So pretty good rolls there. That can be used for a lot of stuff. 4, 6. Over to the Adepta Sororitas here. I'm going to start doing their moves, and I will come back and show you guys what's going on. And it looks like those Sisters Repentia are next down to become tunnel rats to fight the aberrants that are down in the sewers. And we saw what they just did to the Paragon Warsuits and to Morven Val. They were led by the Abominant, but still very dangerous. But yeah, over to the Sisters, and I'll come back and show you guys their move. Alrighty, so that is Adepta Sororitas turn 4 move. This battle's actually gone on much longer than I thought, but that's because that sewer system is so tricky to get to and get down into and fight in. So we have the Retributors here, did not move. I want to take advantage of that heavy ability. They're going to be firing at the Acolyte Hybrids. The Multi-Meltas and the Heavy Bolter definitely in range. The Heavy Flamer is not, so that's going to be one weapon system that's not going to be helping out. Morven Val was outside of range of the Abominant, so she has gone in against the Achilles Ridge Runner to hopefully do some damage to it. I do have those 2 dice in my Miracle Dice pool, so I might be doing Righteous Repugnance again. We will have to see. Over on the other side of the table, the Immolator has finally gotten in range and dropped off the Celestine Sacrosanct. They, however, are just outside of range of getting into the sewer because of their -1 to movement. The Hospitaller is there too. Canoness Vaheen has moved up as well. She might be jumping down the sewers as well to lend as much aid as she can to fighting those aberrants down there. Sisters moved up a little bit here just to make sure that they're blocking off this side so the Sisters can continue to pull their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and jump down into the sewer. This quad is in trouble now. The Wolf Quad has the Sisters of Battle squad firing upon it, as well as the Mortifier. I'm going to try to do the Stormbolter again with that rapid fire ability. The Rhino's got an extra wound back because of its ability. It's going to be firing at the Reductus Saboteur. I'm hoping that I'll be able to kill it. And the Castigator is going to be taking out the Jackal Alphys, hopefully, with its weapon systems. If I'm able to kill that Jackal Alphys with maybe just the Heavy Bolters or the Battle Cannon, I can then move to the Reductus Saboteur for the remaining weapons to fire upon that. That is it. So show you guys the sewers here as well in just a sec. So yes, that was it for the table, but this is down in the sewers. So the Sisters Repentia have jumped down with their superior. The thing is, they're just short of being able to get into hand-to-hand, so it looks like the aberrants are going to have the leg up there with that corner, so they're going to be able to come out next turn. There's only a bolt pistol within this unit for range, and that is held by the Sister Superior, so I might be able to fire at that aberrant at the front. We'll have to see, but they need to get in here and finish this unit off to be able to get to the Patriarch, who is still slumbering for another turn after this, so there's not much time left. We're going to see how it goes. The big thing is here, if these aberrants come around the wall though and lock into hand-to-hand, anyone jumping down into the sewer is going to be able to take the initiative next turn. So it might be a sacrifice here by the Sisters Repentia, which is what they're all about. So let's get to the shoots here, do a lot of that off camera, and then I'll come back and show you guys what's up. And we'll get into the hand-to-hand after that with Morven Val and the Achilles Ridge Runner, and that'll be it for turn number 4 for the best Battle Sisters. So a couple more unit kills there for the Sisters. So we had the Mortifier fire with the double Heavy Bolters into the Wolf Quad, gone. The Castigator had to fire all of its weapon systems actually to take out the Jackal Alphys, but it did get a unit kill there. And the Stormbolter with the Rapid Fire 2 fired down to the Reductus Saboteur, brought it from 4 wounds down to 1 wound, or it was 3 wounds down to 1 wound. I think it was 2 wounds, so that makes sense. This is about to happen here, the melee between Morven Val and the Achilles Ridge Runner, and I'll show you guys in the sewers here what happened. So we're not in hand-to-hand combat yet, but the Sister Superior does have a bolt pistol. I fired down into the front aberrant and actually was able to take a wound off. I had to spend one of my miracle dice to do that though. So the 5 that I had rolled, I used to be able to wound the model, and then it was not able to save. I thought it was a pretty good gamble, and in the long run, since this battle is very close to being done, as this is almost the end for the Adepta Sororitas turn 4, I wanted to make sure that these things are softened up a little bit for possibly the next unit coming down here. So over to the tray again for Morven Val versus the Achilles Ridge Runner, and then it is back over to the Genestealer Cultists. All right, so this is almost the end for turn 4 for the Adepta Sororitas. Only one more after this. This is Morven Val versus the Achilles Ridge Runner. I was thinking that I might use her Righteous Repugnance and burn that last Miracle Dice that I have in my pool. I'm not going to do that because that 4 might come in handy big time, as the Aberrants are probably going to lock in first with the Sisters Repentia. So we're going to go ahead with Morven Val's strike profile. It's got a toughness of 7, the Achilles Ridge Runner. So yeah, I'm going to do the strike profile. It's 5 attacks here, so no additional 3 attacks from the Righteous Repugnance, but I'm hoping this is going to be enough. So hitting on a 2+. Oh man, more ones, more ones. Stop it with the ones. So 3 attacks are through. Strength 8, toughness 7, 3s to wound. Wow. 1, 2, 4. 2 more fall off. -2 to AP. That brings the Achilles Ridge Runner up to a 5+ save. And it saved it. So that's not good. It doesn't have the best melee weapon. It's got its armored hull, so that's going to kind of bump up against Morven Val. But the way I've been rolling here for the sisters, it might wound her. So let's see what happens. This is going to be 3 attacks coming from the Genestealer Cultists this time, hitting on a 4+. Yeah. Strength 5 versus toughness 7. Going to need 5s to wound. Got 1 through. No AP from the armored hull of the Achilles Ridge Runner, so this is Morven Val's regular save of 2+. Oof, I was worried I'd be seeing another one. That's a 6. I will take it. So that battle comes to kind of a draw. The Ridge Runner just bumped Morven Val off. She's backed up quite a bit. Good thing is the Abominant is out of range, but we know that that Achilles Ridge Runner has a very strong, heavy laser on it that might be firing into Morven Val, and it's very possible to wound her. So over to the Genestealer Cultists now. That is it for the sisters. I'm going to do their move. It's going to be a very quick move because there's only a few models left. But yeah, they're going to try to hold up as much as they can here, and then the big battle, the thing that's worth all the marbles, is going down in the sewers right now. So we're going to see what happens there. Be back in a sec. Yeah, I forgot to show you guys what was going on there just at the end of the Adepta Sororitas. So we're back to the end of the Adepta Sororitas turn 4 here before the Genestealer Cultist move. So the Retributors, forgot to show you, were able to wipe out the Acolyte Hybrids with the Clamavus. I think these guys are going to probably get my mark for greatness for this one. They've done a lot of heavy lifting, and they've been kind of the only unit on the side of the table that's really been doing some damage. They took out 2 full units of Neophyte Hybrids. They took out the Acolyte Hybrids. So they've done very well. We'll see if anything else happens, but for now, I think they're going to be marked for greatness. This was the scrap here, the Achilles Ridge Runner. Morven Val was not able to do anything to it, which is crazy strange, but I did not get good rolls. Didn't want to use my Miracle Dice. Might have crapped that away anyway, so I'm glad I didn't. There is no real distance there for hand-to-hand combat, but the heavy mining laser on the Achilles Ridge Runner is probably going to be blasting into her. So I will do the moves now very quickly for the Genestealer Cultists, show you guys what has happened in just a sec. And the sewers is going to be the most important, so I'll probably start there. Alrighty, so starting in the sewers here, the Sisters Repentia have met the Aberrants. What's going to be another very good hand-to-hand combat bout. I'm really hoping the Sisters Repentia can survive here. They do have that feel no pain, I believe, so that's going to help them out. But those hammers are super strong, and this is kind of the second last shot at maybe winning this battle. So this is a very, very important battle. Even if they go down, if they're able to at least wound the Aberrants a bit, it would help greatly. But the Aberrants do have the initiative, so they will be fighting first. Over on the table, we have the Achilles Ridge Runner. It definitely has Morven Val in line of sight and range. The Abominant has also moved up, ready to either pounce on the Castigator in a couple of turns if it's possible, or Morven Val again if she survives the laser attacks. And then the Reducta Saboteur, that big attack there with the mine, is done. So she's just kind of waiting to be finished off there if the Stormbolter gets some better rolls. But she does have, I think, an auto pistol or something, so she's probably going to try to plank away at the Rhino, see what happens. So yeah, we're going to get to the shoot right now. I'm going to get this one on camera, the Achilles Ridge Runner firing that laser. And then we're going to do the hand-to-hand combat melee for the Aberrants versus the Sisters Repentia. All right, so fingers crossed here. Definitely hoping the Achilles Ridge Runner is not able to hurt Morven Vol, or at least if it does, doesn't take too many wounds. Going to be starting off with the twin heavy stubbers. They are twin linked rapid fire 3. So there's the first. It is a 4+ to hit. And we do have a few through. It is strength 4 versus toughness 7, so we need 5s to wound. And there are 2 that have made it through. It is a 0 to AP, so Morven Vol gets her 2+, but I've been loving to roll 1s here, so I'm hoping I'm not jinxing myself. Nice. So she saved both. That is not the most worrisome thing, though. It is that heavy mining laser, so this is D3. See how many attacks we're getting. It's only 1. Oh, that's good. Hitting on a 4+. Didn't get that. So Morven Vol has survived. The laser kind of didn't do much. It just kind of misfired or didn't have enough charge left in the battery. They forgot to switch that out, so it didn't shoot. While we're still live, just for fun, might as well do the Reducta Saboteur. She has her auto pistol. Oh, remote explosives too. Interesting. So, okay. So remote explosives, I'm definitely going to do that. It's D6 plus 3, 24 inches. So I guess she can throw some shit pretty far because she's strong. So D6, so that's 3 dice plus 3. This isn't good for the Rhino. I didn't know this existed. It's going to be hitting on a 3+. I would have got her in there a lot sooner if I'd known that. I was just kind of looking at her ability there because I knew from previous battles that she's got that demolition charge. Strength 5 versus toughness 9. Going to need 5s to wound. 1 is through. There is 0 to AP, so the Rhino is going to get its regular 3+ here. And it saved it. So nothing happened to the Rhino. Interesting, though. That against Sisters of Battle unit would have been pretty fucking bad if it had been a good roll. So keep that in mind if I'm ever playing Genestealer Cultists. They're a tough army to use, too. Like the Sisters of Battle, medium toughness. The Genestealer Cultists, I don't think I have a very good strategy for them yet. I've kind of just used them as, walls of flesh bags. So yeah, I'd have to kind of look and see, but it looks like they can be, if you either have them in transport maybe or hidden really well across the battlefield waiting for ambushes and stuff. A very good fight again would be them versus the Raven Guard. But anyways, we're going to move to hand-to-hand combat here, and we'll get that rolling in just a sec. So just to get out of the tray there and break it up, that is what happened. Morven Vol has survived. Amazing. The Abominant is still close to 2 models. The Reducta Saboteur with that sneaky attack I didn't even know existed tried to attack the Rhino. Nothing happened there either. So that is the 3 remaining models for the Genestealer Cultists on the table. We're now, however, moving to the sewers where the remaining models are for this army, and they are going to be taking the initiative against the Sisters Repentia. Okay, so this is the first kind of attack here. Well, the second against the Aberrants, but hopefully the first that's going to do some damage. They have already taken that 1 wound off of the front model with the Repentia Superior's bolt pistol. This is the Aberrants' turn first, though. They still have 5 models that are healthy with 3 attacks apiece. So this is going to be 15 attacks coming in here. Just saying that is, I don't know. And this is it. So there's 1 more move here from the Adepta Sororitas after this. So it's really, really going to come down to the wire here again. And I thought this battle was going to be super fast. So kind of impressed that it's gone this long and that the Genestealer Cultists have been able to hold out. Very cool. I don't want to kind of toot my own horn, but very cool battle structure too. But anyways, here we go. Very different from what I'm used to doing. This is the Aberrant Weapons. They're hitting on a 3+. That's a lot of hits. So a few did fall off. Take those out of the tray. So we have all those through. It is a strength 7 versus toughness 3. It's going to be 2s to wound. That's never good. But these are only melee attackers, and their melee attack is pretty fucking good in the whole world of Warhammer, I would say, of Warhammer 40k. Oof. So those are all through. That is all 2s or more. So it is a -2 to AP. That does bring the Sisters Repentia up to a 6+ invulnerable, and they also have their Feel No Pain 5+. So I've never actually had these guys survive an attack, but their superior gives them a very cool ability. And if we get there, we'll try to do it. So looking for sixes here first. This is now the Sisters dice. That's a lot of sixes. If I had one in my Miracle Dice pool, I would have used it here too, but there was only a 4 in there. However, I can re-roll these. So these fives don't work yet for the Feel No Pain because this was the initial save. So that was saved. Now we're looking for fives. And a few more. Holy shite. Not bad. So we have a lot of dice saved. It is 2 damage per though. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8. We just needed couple more saves. That is the end of the Repentia squad. They're not going to be able to counterattack here. That was another kind of spear in the dark there to try to finish this battle off. I have to remove those models and give them another battle scar, which is going to weigh heavily on the next final fight because they're also a unit who has had the absolute shit beaten out of them since they started in the Crusade, and they did not start at the beginning, so it's been really rough for them. But we're going to go back to the sisters here. That is the end of the Genestealer Cultists. So you know what? While we're live here, we'll roll our good old Miracle Dice again. It is a 2, so that's looking like one I want to burn if I need Righteous Repugnance. So I'm going to remove those models, issue them the Battle Scar point that I'm going to have to allocate to them at the end of the fight here. And we're going to see what's coming down into the sewers next because there's a few units in range that are going to have the initiative this time. This is the battle. If they don't fight here and kill the entire Aberrant squad, this is going to be a loss for the sisters. So I'll do the move. Pretty much keep it right in the sewers because nothing else really matters right now. And we'll see how it goes. So there it is, another unit that has been decimated by the Aberrants. There is that one Aberrant that has the 2 wounds remaining that might play into the possible victory for this one if the Battle Sisters are able to do anything here. This would be a great unit if you're playing a game like, I don't know, Space Hulk or something. Very similar to those old Space Hulk battles from like the early 90s where the Terminators were down in the sewers or in the Space Hulk guts fighting Genestealers. And these are Genestealer Aberrants, so they're also kind of similar. I'd say a bit stronger than Genestealers. Not as many attacks, but very, very strong and very, very good at kind of holding a Hot Gates Thermopylae situation here. So over the table, I will show you guys who's coming down next and who's going to be getting the initiative to fight these guys and hopefully kill them. So this is what remains here, the Genestealer Cultists. Achilles Ridgerunner, Abominant, full 5 wounds back during its 2nd regeneration life. Reducta Saboteur, none of that really matters right now. It is all here. So we are going to have the Celestine Sacrosancts with the Hospitaller and Canoness Vaheen going into the sewer system. I'm going to place them in there right now. They're going to have the initiative because those Aberrants are waiting right underneath the manhole cover. And these sisters are going to jump down, kind of surprise them a bit, take the initiative, and hopefully kill them. If they don't kill them here, I'm going to be rolling the hand-to-hand combat right away. There's no point to do shoots. If they don't kill them, that's the end of the battle because there's no other units that are going to be able to get down there and do it. So here we go. This is it. Oh, it is tight down in these sewers, but those halberds and spears and everything are able to poke and thrust. And the Celestine Sacrosancts with their unit leader, the Hospitaller, and their veteran sister, Canoness Vaheen, have dropped down, surprised the Aberrants, and are going to take them on in melee right now in the tray. This is the whole battle right here. If we are not able to kill them, that is it, and this will be a loss to the Sisters of Battle. It all comes down to this. This is our Hospitaller, Celestine Sacrosancts, Canoness Vaheen versus the Aberrants. They need to kill them here. The Aberrants pretty much have all of their wounds except 1, which is down to 2, which was luckily probably sniped in the eye by our Repentia Sister Superior. So I'm going to start off with the weakest attacks here. It is going to be the Chirurgeon's Tools, which is the Hospitaller's weapons. I do have a 4 and a 2 in my Miracle Dice pool. The 2 is not going to maybe do much. We'll have to see maybe for Canoness Vaheen if I roll another 1, but that 4 might help out. So this is hitting on a 4+. So I'm not going to use it yet because there's some higher strength weapons coming through, but this is not a good start. So 1 attack has gone through. It is 3 strength versus 6 toughness. This is going to be a 6 to wound. Fuck. Nope. 2. That's not good. So the Hospitaller, done. She's gone through her attacks, tried to use the Triurgin tool there on her back. It didn't do anything. Now we're going to go over to the Celestian Sacrosanct. Hopefully I can get rolling well here. So the weapons they have is the Spear of the Faithful and the Anointed Halberds. They both have a strength 5 versus a toughness 6. This is going to be very hard rolls. That 4 is not going to help, so I'm probably going to save that for Canoness Vaheen, but let's see. So we're going to start off with the Celestian Sacrosanct Sister Superior, Spear of the Faithful. This is going to be 3 attacks hitting on a 3+. Just going to check the abilities here too. Sworn Protectors. While an Adepta Sororitas character is leading this unit, each time an attack targets this unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. Not going to really matter because I'm trying to attack and kill here, and there's no point in having the Aberrants fight back because they'll have won the game. So one of those did fall off from the Spear of the Faithful. We have 2 attacks through, strength 5, toughness 6, 5s to wound. Fuck. And there's a 1 again. I don't have a miracle dice high enough to switch that out. So this is through. It is a -2 to AP. That does bring the Aberrant up to that 5+ invulnerable save. 5+ feel no pain. Didn't save it. So that's 2 wounds. So that is a dead Aberrant from one of the Celestian Sacrosanct models. Don't want to get my hopes up here, but that is a very good thing. And that was the one that was wounded earlier by the Repentia Sister Superior's bolt pistols. So that did come into play in taking that model out. Anointed Halberds are next. We have 4 models with 3 attacks each. So I'll roll those one at a time, and those are hitting on a 3+. So my 4 in my Miracle Dice pool might help here. So Anointed Halberd hitting on a 3+. This is the first model. Oh, fuck. All right, let's see what else I get here. Jesus, man. Holy fuck. God. Okay. Just not in the cards today, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here we go. Last one. So this was the first attack. That was the second, I believe, third, and that was a 2. That's the fourth. So we needed 3+ here to wound. I have to use my miracle dice, and I wish this other was a 3. So I'm going to soup out, we'll say, one of these fucking 1s, getting them all damn game. So that is a 4. Everything else that's under a 3 is being removed. This is strength 5 versus toughness 6. So I'm going to need 5s to wound here again. Okay, few there. These all fall off. That was a 6 actually. So 2, 1, 4. Didn't roll high enough. These are through. -2 to AP. That's going to be a 5+ feel no pain from the Aberrant. So 2 were not made. Only 1 damage per though. That's not good. So this one was saved as well. So there's another Aberrant that is down to 1 wound. I think that's it, unless we get some kind of miracle here from Canoness Vaheen. She's the last of the line here to try to take this out. And what I thought was going to be a pretty easy battle for the sisters turned out to not be that way at all. So maybe I should have got the Paragon Warsuits down there with that incredible strength. They would have fit too. But they were needed on the tabletop because there would have been a lot more models destroyed, I think. But that would have been a good way to do it. Get them right over by the manhole cover. But it could have been any of the other manhole covers too. So I was trying to line them up if it was under 3 or 4, which is diagonal from the one that we're in right now. Anyways, let's see how it goes. So this is the Canoness Vaheen. She's got the Blessed Blade. It is 4 attacks, hitting on a 2+. Okay, I thought I'd maybe have to use the dice there again. My miracle dice, I did not have to. Strength 6, toughness 6, 4s to wound. 2 fell off. I'm just going to check her abilities too. Okay. Once per battle at the start of the phase, this model can use this ability. If it does until the end of the phase, the model has a 2+ invulnerable save. Well, we're not going to do that because there's no point fighting back here. So we have 2 attacks through. It is -2 to AP. So this is going to bring the Aberrant up to that 5+ feel no pain. And it saved it again. It saved another one. These things are crazy. 2 damage though. So they were able to kill another. And Another is down to 2 wounds. The Canoness, still, does she have anything left? Yeah, she has her power weapon, which is, she's got a blessed blade, and then she's got like a, it's not a Rosarius, it's like a power mace staff kind of thing. Well, like a staff head. So this is going to be 4 attacks here, hitting on a 2+. This is it. Okay. Strength 4 though versus toughness 6, 5s to wound again. Okay. 3 are through. All right. -2 to AP. That's going to be the 5+ feel no pain. Oh man, and they made 2 more saves. So it's 2 damage per. So that could have been 2, 4, 6 if it had gone through. But they were not able to do it. So there is still 2 aberrant models down here with 3 wounds apiece. There just wasn't enough models left at the end here in the sewer system to fight. Too confined to space to get a whole unit down or a tank or anything bigger. Paragon Warsuits probably would have worked, but hindsight is 2020. So this is a loss to the Sisters of Battle. I'm going to set the camera up here in just a sec, and I will start chatting about the next fight and kind of my plans for it. I'm still not set on what it's going to be, but this is another loss to the Sisters, and they're coming in at 2 and 3. I'm pretty sure. I'll double check that for their last 6th fight. So we'll come back in just a sec, and we'll sum this one up in whole. All right, so that is another loss for our Sisters of Battle. Very hard fought fight. They did get tons of unit kill, lots of experience. I'm hoping more units have made it to Blooded. There's also been some battle scars though. So what went down in this fight that are going to be allocated battle scars are the Zephyrim, the Paragon Warsuits, the Penitent Engine, and the Sisters Repentia. A lot of those units are already very beat up. And this last fight is actually going to have to do with objective control. So it is going to be pivotal that I have a lot of units in there that have healthy OC. So I might have to give them different battle scars. I think I'm going to use that final requisition point as well. So it'll give me 200 points to add to the Sisters army, which is going to be huge. I'm going to need that to be able to hold the objective with maybe a healthy Sisters of Battle unit, another Rhino. I have a lot more Sisters models, so I'll have to look and see what I want to do. The next fight, I had it originally against Chaos Undivided, so the Chaos Cultists with a few Space Marines to make this one even. So the points are going to be the same. We're going to be probably coming in around 17 or 1800 points for the Sisters at this point with those 200 additional supply points. So I am going to check and see my army, bring those in, and then they will be facing off against a very similar strength, 1700-ish point Chaos Undivided, Chaos Cultists force. Dark Commune's probably going to be in there, maybe some Beastmen, definitely a couple of tanks. I might get a few Terminators in there or Space Marines just to round it out, but we'll see. I have to think about that. I was also maybe thinking of putting Death Guard in for that fight. But I think it's going to be just a better even 6th and final battle against Chaos Cultist Army with some Space Marines in there, Chaos Space Marines. This, however, is our second last Adepta Sororitas Crusade narrative battle. The last one, as I said, will be coming up next against Chaos Cultists, Chaos Undivided. Really hoping for a win, so at least these guys can finish at 500 with a 3-3 record, but we'll see. This one, I got a little too cocky, thought it was going to be super easy, but the way it was set up too, there's a lot of randomization and a lot of units that kind of held up the Sisters from moving across the board. So I had to keep that in mind, because to be able to just move from the starting point of the Sisters down to the other side of the table, if it had been under the number 4 disc for the sewer, that would have probably, I don't even know if I would have got maybe 1 or 2 turns against the aberrants down there protecting the Patriarch. So worked out the way it was supposed to. Hindsight's 2020. Probably would have done a few things differently. You guys got to see the Genestealer Cultists here too. It's an army that I don't use too much, but they're kind of similar to my Imperial Guard, a little less armored, a little less tanks, but very good for kind of guerrilla warfare and sneaking around the table. Yeah, and the Sisters, again, difficult army to use. Don't have that kind of same punch as the Space Marines, a bit higher than my Imperial Guard, but then they don't have the tanks of the Imperial Guard. So it's a very tough Imperium army to use. I've learned a lot from it. I like them a lot too, though. They're very cool. Love the models. Love that they got that whole refurbished there a couple of editions ago. So it's been really fun to play them. There's still one battle left. It's not done yet. Try to get that to you guys as soon as I can and get this one edited up. Thanks so much. We'll see you guys soon. Finnigan 40K, Adepta Sororitas, Sisters of Battle, Battle Sisters, Narrative Crusade. Bye for now.